It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
631-965-4990. This is Below the Mic. We are live every single Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And remember, you can call our number at 631-965-4990. I'd like to thank Erik Coleman for joining us tonight, Brandon Jacobs, Mike Inglis. Great interviews today. Interactive. Erik gave us some good insight of the New York Jets. Brandon gave us some good insight for the Giants and took shots at the Jets. So thank you, Brandon. Thank you very much. And I tried to get it out from Erik Coleman. He wouldn't give it. So there you go. Well, the Jets pick at number 11th, the 11th pick, and they picked who, Speedy Petey?
Mekhi Becton, the offensive tackle out of Louisville, goes number 11.
Where do you think he's ranked in offensive tackles in this year's draft?
I have him third. I think if he definitely gets his technique up, because his technique in terms of pass blocking is a little raw, if he can get that up, he definitely can emerge into the number 2 or even the number 1 guy. He's got good speed for his size. He showed that at the Combine, and he showed it with Lamar Jackson. When he was at Louisville, he was playing on that RPO type offense. So he can move around for a big guy. So that's a good thing for a mobile quarterback like Darnold. He could block downfield. He could block on those play action rollout type throws. And that's important for the Jets in terms of being able to expand their offense. And obviously, if other linemen start to struggle, then Becton can help out if Darnold does have to run first line.
They just solidified their offensive line. That's what they did. You put Font on the right side. You have this kid on the left side. You got your guard presence. You have plenty of guards that you could put over there at left and right guard. And now you solidify. Now you have the kid that they drafted.
Mekhi Becton.
No, the kid that they got from the Broncos.
Oh, McGovern.
The center who really did very, very well with Drew Lock last year. Now you put him with Sam Darnold. You solidify your offensive line. You went from one of the worst offensive lines in football last year to possibly one of the best. Hopefully, this kid turns out to be the player that everybody thinks he's going to be as one of the best tackles in this year's draft. So very, very excited about this. I don't know. I'm going to be honest with all you Jet fans. I don't know much about this kid. All I do know is he's one of the fastest tackles in this year's draft, which the Jets need a speed tackler, especially the way Sam likes to move inside and out of the pocket. That's what he's good at. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league at throwing on the run. So I think this fits with the Jets and their offensive line. And now bringing in Font wasn't so bad, because now you move Font to the right tackle position where I think he'll be strongest at. And now you solidified both edges right there. That is going to protect Sam Darnold. Sam is not going to be afraid of getting hit, because now you have a 6'7" guy on one side and a 6'6" guy on the other. So you got two very big tackles protecting Sam Darnold on his blind side.
And again, both guys can move around too. Font, his problem in Seattle wasn't that he couldn't move around. His problem was that, again, he sometimes is a little weak for his size, but both guys can move around, which really helps in terms of expanding this offense too. Becton, again, we'll see how he develops the rest of his game, his technique. But again, he definitely is a guy that can move around, great run blocker, and he just needs to improve a little as a pass blocker.
Becton is definitely the best run blocking tackle that you had out of these four. As Speedy said, the pass blocking needs some help and such. And even though, the Giant fan in me says Andrew Thomas is better, as a complete, where you have a tackle that's good at a lot of things, Becton is the best run blocking tackle out of all of these prospects, without a doubt. So, Bell, if you wanted to come back in big time, and get some protection, you found the right guy to help him out with that right now.
Speedy, where does Vegas go at number 12?
I think CeeDee Lamb has really been talked about for a while as of late for John Gruden and Mike Mayock. I think that's where they go.
How about you?
Oh, no.
Henry Ruggs just catapulted over all of them.
Oh, man.
I would have said the same thing as Speedy, possibly even if they didn't go that route. I would have said, okay, you take Judy. Ruggs, I guess they
Big
really...
mistake.
Oh, big mistake.
Big mistake. And I think Rugg will be a good player. But Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb is still sitting there.
Somebody got really impressed in the Underwear Olympics there with that 40 time.
Could you imagine Jerry Jeudy goes to Tampa? I do believe San Francisco will be looking for a wide receiver. I do.
God, Judy or Lamb on the Niners? Wow.
They're going for a wide receiver.
If you have Kittle, Judy, come on. just those two words alone, compared to what they had last year.
Well, they did not bring Emmanuel Sanders back, so
No.
now they are looking for a wide receiver. They did not expect C.D. Lamb and Jerry Jeudy to be sitting there. They're really. And how does San Francisco have the 13th pick?
Because they
from
traded
the
from
Indianapolis.
Colts,
Yes. So they're going to get their wide receiver.
Yeah,
They're
and that's
gonna
exactly why they took that pick in order to do it. And now they've really got a bargain because the Raiders messed up badly.
And
Ruggs, he has speed, but he's got other questionable
Well,
parts of
you
his
say
game.
they messed up badly. So even if they got C.D. Lamb, they were going to get Jerry Jeudy. No matter what, they were going to get themselves a good wide receiver, San Francisco.
Of course, but I think the Raiders really needed that number one guy. And I think when you look at Ruggs, I just don't see that in him as being more well-rounded as a type of receiver. He's very fast, but even for a fast guy, he's not really a big deep threat. His hands are good, not great. Like,
Well, hold on one second. He had 24 touchdowns over there in Alabama.
Oh, sure. I'm not saying he's not.
Jerry Jeudy only had 27 touchdowns, so
Right.
he didn't have that many more touchdowns than Ruggs. I think Ruggs is going to be a sensational player, but if you were to ask me right now, who would I pick from, Ruggs, Jeudy, or C.D. Lamb? I would definitely take Jeudy and C.D. Lamb over Ruggs.
I just don't see Ruggs fitting as that number one guy, and I think the Raiders needed that number one guy. I think Ruggs would have been good in certain systems. Like I think if the Niners took Ruggs, if they was here, like I think it would be a good pick for them because he fits that system. A lot of motion. You can line up on the backfield with his speed. You do a lot of jet sweeps. I don't see that with the Raiders. The Raiders are a more traditional type offense, and I think they really needed a more complete wide receiver.
The biggest problem out of all three of these receivers, they just selected the guy who has the biggest problem with gaining separation off of a defender. That's a big problem. That's why when you see guys like when you see Mike Mayock, I mean, even though I'm a Giant fan, just when it comes to football decisions, I've got to just say, you see these guys jumping up and down like they just won the damn Super Bowl, Gruden and Mayock. They look like a couple of bona fide schmucks right now.
Well,
and they'll regret that.
I mean, Jeudy is still out there.
Jeudy is still out there, and so is C.D. Lamb.
Jeudy, let's be real. Even in the bowl game, could anybody touch Jeudy? You know what I mean?
Well, he was great too. Ruggs was great too.
No,
in the
I'm not
game.
taking away from Ruggs, but at the same time, come on. That's like saying, okay, you have Jerry Rice over here, you have Robbie Anderson. Sorry, Earl. You have, Odell Beckham.
Robbie Anderson wasn't even
okay.
drafted.
Out of all these guys, I'm going to take anybody but Rice. That's basically what we're dealing with right now. I mean, that's how big of a difference these three guys are. You have Jeudy, and then you have the other two. If you want to.
Well, hold on one second. A lot of people say C.D. Lamb is the better wide receiver over him and Jeudy.
They're not far off.
I think it's ridiculously. It's a big difference between first and second with these guys.
I don't think so. I think
so?
C.D.
I'm telling you right now. I think Jeudy is more of a complete guy. He gains separation when he knows how to.
Well,
separation is huge nowadays.
He's probably going to San Francisco. I wouldn't be so surprised if Jerry Jeudy is on and off with Jimmy Garoppolo and those interesting group of men.
This is a perfect example of what we're talking about. If Jeudy goes to San Francisco and C.D. Lamb is still out there, and he goes past Tampa Bay, since Brady's calling the shots over there, let's be real about it.
C.D. Lamb will go to Denver.
I honestly think C.D. Lamb actually...
He'll go to Denver.
I think Philly will actually come up and try to get C.D. Lamb.
They could.
The
only problem with that is
they're going to have to give up a lot.
If Tampa's tackle is there, they have to take their tackle, so I don't know if they would necessarily trade that pick. If the Niners, the Niners aren't going to steal their tackle most likely. If the Niners somehow surprise them and steal the tackle, maybe they think Joe Staley's going to retire or something like that. Unless they do something crazy here, I can't see Tampa passing up on Wirfs at this point.
I don't know what I'm happier about. The fact that the Giants actually have a solid pick, or we have a head coach and a GM that made a stupider move than Gettleman.
I think the Jets and the Giants made good, solid picks. They both did. They both got the tackles that they believe. Now, the question is, at the tackle position for both teams, who's going to be better? And we'll see the growth of both players. Thomas was highly profiled. Some people said was the best offensive tackle in this year's draft, but they've also said Wills. I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know much about this kid from Louisville, but again, a lot of people, he's the biggest offensive tackle in this year's draft. 6'7", 364,
he can move.
And he's one of the fastest tackles in this year's
5'1".
draft. Yeah, so he can run. He's fast. And he could dominate the offensive line for the New York Jets. The Jets line is going to be very fast this year, very fast, and they're going to be able to pass block. This team. Font on the right side. Font was the left tackle. He was the best tackle on Seattle last year. And now you're moving him to the right tackle position to the Jets. The Jets probably have arguably the two biggest tackles in the league.
49ers just traded the pick to the Bucks.
Oh, that's interesting. So the Bucks trade up one pick.
Wide receiver.
That would be a mistake. As good as Judy and Lamb are, that would be a big mistake.
Hopefully this is just a little graphic error with ESPN with their little virtual deal here and stuff.
It's working.
But but here's the one thing. If nobody's noticed, if they're watching this, the pick switched to 13 from San Francisco to Tampa Bay, but the 14th pick didn't change yet. So does that mean they orchestrated some amazing deal?
Tampa has
where they're going to have
back-to-back
picks.
That's interesting.
Wow, look at this. Brady running that team is paying off right now.
They're going for a wide receiver. They're definitely
going for their wide receiver and their tackle.
They might go after two tackles. They might go after their two tackles.
Listen, right now they could actually get Austin
Could you
Jackson
believe this?
and
What
Biff.
did the Buccaneers give up? I mean, next year's first
and
round?
maybe the one after that. They did the whole Kevin Costner deal, probably.
Really?
Maybe.
I want to see this trade. There's Jamal Adams right there. That looks like Jamal, right? Is that Jamal Adams?
That's Tristan Wirth.
That's Tristan.
Oh, it looks like Jamal Adams.
Oh no! Now they swapped it. Okay, so it is Tampa Bay 13 and the Niners 14.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
So John Lynch did the same thing he did to the Bears. He threatened them with one pick and got something extra out of it. All right, Jason Licht. Now you're in the Ryan Pace territory.
They
of
obviously are getting a tackle or a wide receiver, and a lot of these teams right now in the position that they're in, the Jets, Tampa, San Francisco, Denver, all the four of these teams are looking for tackle help and wide receivers. So look at all these teams. Even Tampa, who has a ton of wide receivers. You know Brady doesn't have enough weapons. You put Judy as your slot receiver over there, forget about it.
With Godwin and Evans.
Yeah, that's scary.
Both of those guys had over 1,000 yards receiving last year, or over 1,200 yards receiving, both of them.
And good tight ends, too.
And they have three decent tight ends now.
But Howard will probably get traded.
They're going after the tackle. I do believe that. I think that's where they're landing. I think it doesn't make any sense.
One pick, though.
It doesn't make any sense.
Is it that crazy to think that maybe one of those tight ends went in this deal and is now a backup with Kittle's? Is it that kind of crazy?
You know what's funny?
I mean, why would they want to minimize the value more if you're Tampa, though?
What bothers me as a Jet fan, all the Jets had to do was go back 2 spots, and they probably could have gotten 2 or 3 picks for that one pick. They really could have.
Probably.
And they probably still would have gotten their tackle. The same guy that they wanted. Because even though Tampa is sitting there right now all pretty at number 13, there's 2 more tackles on the board still? 2 good tackles on the board?
There's one that was projected to be in that big 4 bunch, which is Wirfs, and then the next drop-off probably is more towards the end of the first round with the guy Jeff was mentioning and Josh Jones, who's the offensive tackle from Houston, who's been going many different spots. A lot of people have him going to Miami with their 3rd pick. A lot of people think maybe Seattle for them.
So where do you think the Giants go in the 2nd round?
I'm thinking linebacker because they didn't do Simmons. I'm thinking maybe Zach Bond.
I have a feeling, and I'm going to say this as
Kenneth Murray if he falls too. I think linebacker.
Before you say, let me say mine. Before you say yours, if he's there in the 2nd round, because it's a pretty high pick in the 2nd round, I wouldn't be surprised if you end up seeing AJ Espensia.
Ooh, I would like that. I don't think he'll fall the 2nd round
because you don't need a linebacker right now. You need an edge guy.
That is true, but I don't think he'll fall the 2nd round.
I don't think so either, but hey, I could wish.
I think the Giants will regret not drafting Isaiah Simmons. I will say that. They will regret it. I mean, this is arguably the best player in this year's draft. People were saying he's the most explosive, and they had a chance to get him, and they decided to draft a tackle. So I hope this tackle works out, and it's not Flowers.
It is Tristan Wirfs, the Tampa.
So there you go. The 4 big tackles are now off the board. All of them are off the board, all 4 of them. So, which we predicted in the top 15, all the tackles were going to go. I was very surprised that there was still a tackle there at 13. Mm-hmm. But you know what San Francisco is doing. They're drafting a wide receiver.
They have to draft a
They're
wide receiver.
going to draft a wide receiver. So don't be so surprised. I'm going to predict it's CeeDee Lamb. I'm going to predict it.
Me too.
I'm going to predict it. And I'm going to tell you why. CeeDee Lamb is the explosive one. He's the one that can go up and get the ball. Jerry Jeudy has lightning speed after the catch. He is the best route runner in this year's draft. But CeeDee Lamb could he's the second best route runner in this year's draft, and he's probably the best really going deep wide receiver in this draft. So it's to me, it fits better to bring in Jimmy Garoppolo to go after CeeDee Lamb than Jerry Jeudy. I know you keep loving Jerry Jeudy, and I love Jerry Jeudy too. But as much as you think Jerry Jeudy is great, look at the Alabama wide receivers the last couple of years. Besides, Amari Cooper was the last good wide receiver they had, and to me, he's not even a top-tier wide receiver. The last big wide receiver they had, Alabama, was Julio Jones. How long ago was that?
2011 draft.
That's a long time. So, again, I'm not taking shots at Jerry Jeudy. I'm not saying Jerry Jeudy is any one of these guys. But the game is faster in the NFL. And Jerry Jeudy, look at the sizes. Look at Jerry Jeudy and look at CeeDee Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
CeeDee Lamb is a much bigger guy. He has bigger hands, and he has better hands than I think Jerry Jeudy. So,
and I also think, too, Lamb's biggest ability that, for the most part in college, for him is he was really good with yards after the catch. And you look at the Niners offense, the way it was, their receivers, even though they weren't overly talented receivers, just with the system, led the league in yards after the catch. And I think Lamb's a perfect guy for that.
Could you imagine Atlanta gets Jeudy? How crazy is that? Could you imagine that?
They
Ridley,
need other
Jones,
things.
and Jeudy.
Could you believe that?
Do you want to know something?
It could happen.
They would probably be happy as hell if that's the case right now.
Yeah, but they need other things.
So, I mean,
there's a chance that it could happen. Yeah, I understand they need other things, but they might be looking at it as the best player available. And if they think Jerry Jeudy is the best player available and they think that it fits their offense, then they're going to go after Jerry Jeudy. Because remember, Julio Jones has been demanding this big extension, and Atlanta gave him the extension
last year.
Year, I think he's making like almost $20 million now.
Yeah, I think it's like 18.5.
And he's like 31 years old. Mm-hmm. Why not bring the guy in, bring Jerry Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb in at number 16, and maybe next year trade Julio Jones and get some picks back for him. And that quite possibly could happen.
I just think they're in too much of a win-now mode to do that, though. I wouldn't risk trading your star, especially, again, if they need more time to develop, especially with Ridley, who had a kind of a sophomore slump. They're in a win-now mode. They need more on defense. I think you just stick to that.
But don't get me wrong. I'm not saying – I'm not backtracking from what I said. I don't think CeeDee Lamb is bad. I mean, compared to Ruggs, Ruggs is the first one off. A lot of people, if people wanted to turn around and say, okay, CeeDee Lamb was the first one off, maybe I could deal with it a little bit better. But Ruggs, I can't deal with. That's why with Jerry Jeudy right now, he's gift wrapped for not only him, but who does Denver have?
Cortland Sutton, who's a good guy, but that's really it right now.
But Cortland Sutton is one of those solid possession guys.
Player. He's a young player that needs some time to grow. And who's the other guy they have?
Patrick?
Tim Patrick, and I think Deshaun Hamilton is the other one, who are both, again, number 3 type receivers. So Sutton is a good player. He's just raw right now because he wasn't a great route runner in college.
Would it be that much of a shocker if we would see both of these receivers go right now?
Yeah.
One back.
No, I don't think so at all. I think for the Broncos' sake, he's definitely the best player available. It's not like there was another guy that really fell to them. Jeudy and Lamb at this point are definitely the best players available, and the Broncos need a lot of different things. So the
Broncos definitely need offensive line help.
They
just lost McGovern.
They need some, but I don't think they need as much because they drafted a lot of offensive line last year too. So I think in terms of offensive line, it's not their biggest need as much as I think their secondary is and their receiving core, because it's an average line. So if like someone fell to them, maybe if you take Becton or something like that, if they fell to them, but if not, at this point you're just taking the best player available.
And at the same time, when it comes to Denver, this is not the same Denver defense that we had from the Super Bowl in the year after. It has diminished. Von Miller could only hold up this defense by himself so damn long, and now you're giving defensive backs are running are jumping ship. They're doing a lot of movement with this defense as well. So it's not that hard to believe that you may see an edge pass rusher here as well, just because they're out there, and pretty soon there's going to be a run. We usually see this. There's going to be a run. There's now the run with the tackles. There's a run with receivers. Really, besides Young, what edge pass rushers have you seen?
Right.
None.
The other one that's in there is Chason, the LSU
Brown.
pass rusher.
They also brought Brown.
Brown got drafted by the Panthers.
Yeah.
So
defensive tackle, but surprisingly, you haven't seen that much defense right now, and
this is not a class. This is not a class for pass rushers. They said that.
Right.
They said that Chase Young was the best pass rusher available in this year's draft, and there's nobody even close after him.
Right.
Next year will probably be a pass rushing draft. So this was a tackle draft, a corner draft, and wide receiver draft. That's what everybody was saying. This is not even a quarterback class.
No.
This is not. Last year's wasn't a quarterback class either. The quarterback class that everybody was talking about was the Sam Darnold quarterback class. That was what everybody was saying. The Josh Allens, the Sam Darnolds, the Josh Rosen, and obviously Lamar Jackson, and even Drew Lock, who was drafted in the same class.
No, Drew Lock was last year.
I'm sorry, last year.
Don't get me wrong. This is more of a quarterback draft class than last year's was.
Oh yes,
collectively.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this right now. I think last year's quarterback class, you talking about Daniel Jones and Kyler Murray and Drew Lock, all three of those guys could be stars in the league, and that could come down to be the better quarterback class. I think Kyler Murray, they brought in a wide receiver in Hopkins, who I think is all around probably the best wide receiver in football, and they practically got him for nothing. You're talking about the most explosive wide receiver in the league, and O'Brien gave him up for nothing.
And I've said this to you once before, and I've said this not just from a fantasy football standpoint, because that's usually where you see this name come up and it's given so much credit. Who the hell is David Johnson? It's the most overrated name I've heard in the last 3 or 4 years.
3 years?
He was great for a year and a half.
It's almost as if not only him and his family, but whoever the hell has him just keeps their fingers crossed that this guy's going to have some breakout year. And you really think it's going to happen with Bill O'Brien?
Mm-hmm. An offensive line that's just as bad as the Cardinals.
Well, you're looking at 2 wide receivers. You saw Jerry Jeudy right here, and you saw CeeDee Lamb. That's where San Francisco is definitely going. They're going for a wide receiver. To me, by far, the 2 best.
Being handed a cell phone.
Yep. By far, the 2 best wide receivers in this year's draft. And I'm talking about this is covered with good wide receivers. You're going to get a star wide receiver possibly in the 2nd round. There's a couple of them.
The kid from Arizona State.
Pittman, I heard.
Brandon Ayuk. I like him too.
Brandon Ayuk. Okay, yeah, he's not in this top 3.
From Colorado, you're talking about?
No, from Arizona State.
That's Chanel. Ayuk.
Janal is going to fall out of the first round. A lot of people think Jeff loves him.
I love him too.
Jeff said he's the best wide receiver in this year's class, by far.
By far. It's not hard to believe that in this draft class you're going to see somebody drafted in the 3rd, 4th round, and they turn out to be this unbelievable player down the road.
I think Chenault's skill set overall is number 3.
It's good that you guys know how to pronounce their names because I'm terrible at it. Let me tell you, I am.
In your defense, that is a tough.
You still don't know how to pronounce my name.
No, I do.
In his defense, though,
Anthony Andriosi.
I just make you feel good.
In your
it's
defense,
not how you pronounce your name.
It's actually not.
How do you pronounce your name?
Andriosi.
Yeah. Oh. Listen, man, I'm serious.
If I was a hockey player, you get it right. I keep saying it all the time.
Oh no! They shock everybody with the Javon Kinlaw. Wow,
that's crazy. Speedy almost had a heart attack. I'll tell you this right now: the way this is going, the Patriots are going to have their pick with these guys.
What the hell did you get rid of? Then what the hell did you get rid of DeForest Buckner for? If you were going to do this,
if I were the Jets right now, and this is me, I have a 3rd pick. I have 2 3rd-round draft picks, and I have a 2nd-round draft pick. I would move into the 1st round and try to grab one of these guys.
What do the Jets have? What do the Jets have left?
They have 2 3rd-round draft picks in a 2nd round. They give up one 3rd-round pick and their 2nd round and get themselves their wide receiver that they want.
If Joe Douglas pulled that off and got back in here to get Jeudy,
quite possibly could happen.
He may actually have. He may be by himself. They'll have a parade of down the hall. What is it? The Boulevard of Champions for him tomorrow.
Well, I'll tell you this. If there's any team that could do this right now with everything that's going on in the NFL, why couldn't the Jets make a splash? I could see it. And you want to know something? This is what the Jets needed. Really, they needed a tackle, and they needed a wide receiver really, really bad. I will tell you this right now. Joe Douglas drafts a wide receiver in the 2nd round. No question. They're going to draft a wide receiver in the 2nd round.
So the trend is continuing, even with 2 very talented receivers. They're just not as valued to these teams.
They might even fall out of the 1st round.
I can't see that, but again, they might fall at the end of the 1st round. And you know who's salivating right now, and Anthony, you mentioned this before, is Philadelphia.
How about Dallas?
They are going to get...
How about Dallas?
They could trade up with Atlanta right now and steal a receiver from Dallas. They're salivating right now.
Dallas needs a number 1.
They do.
They need a number 1. I don't want to hear about Amari Cooper. They need a number 1.
They could, all right, they could use a number 1 or dual number 1, number 2, whatever.
And I'll tell you
role
this
want
right now:
serve.
CeeDee Lamb is at 17. Dallas drafts CeeDee Lamb.
Would it be that? But see, one thing about Dallas, I'm not saying this to hate on them or anything in regards to keeping them away. With Amari Cooper being there, I honestly think with Dallas, you may have somebody from the defensive side of the ball, especially Xavier McKinley, to help out the defensive backfield.
I think you might be able to get him later, though. I don't think you could. I think with all this value left, there's too much.
But the way Jerry Jones is, he's not like that. If he likes somebody, he usually jumps up. If anybody remembers, which probably people won't remember this because this is so obscure.
I like that word, obscure.
When Travis Fredrickson, their center, their longtime center who just retired, got picked up, he was projected to be in the 3rd round. He picked him up in the 1st round when he was supposed to pick up. Errol's going to like this one. I'm sure you're going to like this one. Prince Amukamara. They
weren't the same draft. Amukamara was the 11th
draft.
No, Amukamara was the 11th draft.
There was another defensive back that I thought they were supposed to come up.
Maybe Desmond Trufant.
Possibly.
Okay.
But I remember everybody started laughing at them. Meanwhile, Travis Fredrickson lasted over a decade with them.
Yeah, I actually was one of the people making fun of them.
I think everybody was.
I was wrong on that. So I mean, Wisconsin's
Errol,
generally
man,
good.
I don't even know what the hell that
Wisconsin
is.
is generally good with offensive linemen, so you could see the basis
where
of it.
No man has gone before.
That was good. That was good.
Well, what do we got? What do we got here?
What do we have? We have Kyle Shanahan jumping up and down like he just won the damn lottery, and he looks
very
like another bona fide schmuck right now.
I'm
you
very
gave up
surprised they didn't get a wide receiver.
DeForest Buckner to do this.
Well, I
don't know what happened in the Bay Area tonight.
I do believe San Francisco, they still have another pick in the 1st round. I could still see them getting a wide receiver.
Do they have some new drug laws or something like that?
I was going to say, they must have gotten some drug.
They went from weed to
spread around the Bay Area.
I
don't know what happened.
Well, if they have that, pass it over. Let me tell you, because I need some.
So now Drew Lock can pick up Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, we'll see.
Unless
they're a franchise that loves wide receivers. I can't imagine them being one of them. Not only that, look
no,
at the
they don't.
history of the way the Broncos are.
They have the big wide receiver who they absolutely love. So
Hamilton?
No, not Hamilton. Sutton.
Right,
Sutton,
we were talking about him earlier,
love.
but they really don't have another guy.
But they don't have another guy to fall back on at all.
Well, again, I don't think they're drafting wide receiver at number 15. I don't. I think Denver is going to go after corner. They need corner help. They lost their Chris Harris. They did bring in a corner, but Chris Harris, who's been one of the best corners in football for the last 6-7 years, they lost him into free agency. So I could see Denver going after, and this class is covered with good corners. So at 15, I say they go after a DB. That's where I think Denver is going.
So that would probably be Christian Fulton if they do end up going DB. Maybe if they go safety, maybe that early. Could it be Delpit? Could it be McKinney? I don't know.
And Delpit's fallen.
I like him, though, too.
I like Delpit.
They're worried about his raw tackling ability for the most part, but I think his skill set overall is very good. So I think that could end up making a difference. The other area they could go in was, like you were saying, Anthony, maybe a Chason or Espinoza here, too, if they wanted to. There's really no inside linebacker to take at this point.
Errol, man, come on, man.
Or give me death.
Totally missed that one. Play that one again. I didn't get that one.
Give me liberty or give me death.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, Jerry Jeudy to the
Finally.
Broncos. It has finally happened.
All right. Well, they got their number one guy, and he is their number one guy. I was very surprised. I'm very surprised Jerry Jeudy was there at 15. Some people said he was a top 5 prospect. Mm-hmm. So now he goes to Denver at number 15. I don't think Denver thought that he was going to be on the board at 15.
No.
So very surprised. Vegas really surprised us at their pick, picking Ruggs. And then, obviously, Tampa moving up one spot, you would think that it was either going after an offensive tackle or wide receiver. They got the tackle. And then San Francisco, who has needed a wide receiver forever, they made a trade for Emmanuel Sanders, gave up their second pick this year and another pick, I think the 4th pick, to bring in Emmanuel Sanders, who did nothing for them on that playoff run.
Right.
And you would think they were going to bring in Jerry Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb. I'm shocked that they didn't. But that doesn't mean San Francisco doesn't move up and get CeeDee Lamb. I could see them doing that. They still have a first-round draft pick at number 29.
From the Colts.
Yep. No, they have their pick at 29.
No, their pick. The one they just took was from the Colts.
That was from the Colts.
Which is essentially now a recycled pick, because they just traded a DeForest Buckner who's the same thing as
It was money. It was money. They weren't going to pay Buckner. Buckner wanted a lot of money. He's going to be a free agent next year, and they didn't have enough money to pay him. They brought in a very talented defensive tackle. We'll see how he turns out to be. And with Joey Bosa, you put anybody on that line, they're going to be better.
Because I think they have enough anyway, though. Do they need Kinlaw?
Obviously not to them. And maybe they know their team better than you do. So I'm very surprised Jerry Jeudy fell to the Denver Broncos. They should be very happy. If you're a Bronco fan, a.k.a. DJ Cleveland, who's a Bronco fan, I'm sure he's jumping for joy because Jerry Jeudy, to me, I mean, you can argue it's either him or CeeDee Lamb. I was saying that he was the best wide receiver in this year's draft, but everything that I've seen and the clips I've seen with CeeDee Lamb, I think CeeDee Lamb is the best wide receiver in this year's class. So, and the fact that he's still on the board, if Atlanta doesn't drive him and draft him, and I could see Atlanta drafting him. I could.
I can. I don't think that would be the right pick for
Julio Jones right now is going to be 31 after this year.
I would worry about the holes on your team rather than trying to worry about a star.
They're an offensive-minded team.
But they need edge rushers. They need edge rushers.
There's not many in there. There's not enough edge rushers in this draft.
Right, but so you have to take one when you can.
So you're going to take a. So wait a second. You're going to take a chance with a pass rusher when you can get a sure thing. Yeah, that makes sense, Speedy.
No, but here's the thing.
If I was a GM, that's real smart.
No, but you want to know something? Right now you have a lot of holes. Okay, you have Julio Jones. You have Calvin Ridley still there. Who's the other receiver that they have?
They had Sanu, but they traded him.
Sanu got traded.
Went to the Patriots.
He went to the Patriots.
They have the guy that played with Yale or something like that.
And by the way,
small school
Mohamed
guys.
Sanu is a free agent. So he's a free agent this year. So there'll be teams interested in Mohamed Sanu. He's a good player.
And you want to know something? I think when it comes to what they have on defense, they don't have a lot on defense. No. You know what I mean? I think this situation is they have a lot of offense. They have some offensive weapons and such. But now it's on.
Watch the Patriots. I'm telling you right now, I could see if Jordan Love is still on the board at 21, 22, I could see the Patriots moving up and getting him.
Oh, no, I'm not disputing that.
I think the Patriots are interesting to watch, but I think the team to watch right now is the Eagles if Lamb keeps falling like this.
And they might not even have to trade up if this case.
They're not getting Lamb. They're not getting CeeDee Lamb.
Well, let's see. You got Dallas after that who could take
Dallas is drafting CeeDee Lamb. If CeeDee Lamb is there, Dallas is drafting.
This might be the only opportunity Philly has to move up right now.
That's what I say. I think it's the perfect one, too, because both Chason and Espinosa are still on the board for Atlanta, where I think they could afford to get the extra
By the way, the Beav's probably doing something in his pants right now as we speak. Because he has a chance. He has a chance to jump up in the air and get himself finally a number one wide receiver. And I don't want to hear about Amari Cooper. I think he's a number one. He's not a number one. He's not a number one.
But again, regardless of who it is, they're pretty close, and the drop-off between Cooper and anyone else they have right now.
CeeDee Lamb gets drafted, he's the number one.
Okay, fair enough. But again, my point is the drop-off between him and the next best guy, who's Gallup, who's a very streaky receiver. There's a big difference there
blows.
where they could be able to do that.
They were actually better off when they had Cole Beasley, that wide receiver core.
But again, Cole Beasley was nothing more than that third down, quick slot
But you want to know
guy.
something? He did pretty well with Buffalo last year.
He did better with Buffalo. I'm actually surprised. They actually expanded his playbook a lot more in terms of what he could do. He became more of a deep threat than he ever was with Dallas.
True.
Well,
so the pick in, but as Errol usually
all
says,
the time.
we got to wait another 15 minutes.
15 minutes to hear the pick. With good old Roger Goodell sitting in his little...
before that, you're going to see Kuiper before that.
His little chair. Little chair of hell. That's what I call it.
I think the way Dan Quinn and Dimitrov have drafted in that tenure, I think Chason is the pick. They love the speed rushers type.
I think they have to. I almost think they have to go edge rusher on this.
They love speed rushers. Chason's the perfect type.
What the hell was that one?
It's a boo.
Oh.
Yes. Fans out there, we have sound effects. Just trying to entertain you.
Anthony's not a fan.
Anthony's not a fan because it's blocking Anthony's voice. That's why, right?
Yeah.
For you, all your fans, that's for you. Or maybe a little of this. All right, after Atlanta, where does Dallas go?
Yeah, they have to go with Lamb, I think. I would imagine so, but again, Jerry
That
Jones
is if Lamb doesn't get picked up by Atlanta.
I mean, that'd be the sexy pick for Atlanta. And again, everyone was salivated about that offense, but they need a lot on defense. They cut too much, too. Why did they cut Trufant? Why did they cut Campbell? Beasley had a bad year, so maybe you could see that, but still, their defense got decimated, and might lose some safeties too after this year with Neal and Allen.
But see, that's why with Dallas, especially even losing Byron Jones stuff, I think finding somebody like McKinley or going defensive back. I mean,
Christian
it's
Fulton's
possible.
another good option for them too if they want to go corner, because they actually need the corner more than they need the safety.
True.
Losing Byron Jones, they got Clinton Dix, and right now so he's fine at least on a 1-year deal as long as he doesn't play like he did with the Redskins. He's fine at least on a 1-year deal. Their number one corner right now is Chidobe Awuzie, who's a decent number 2, but even he's a lower end number 2.
Well, Atlanta is about to make their pick. We're waiting for it as we wait for Roger Goodell to get off his damn throne, because we've been waiting for that really since yesterday.
I'm surprised he hasn't announced the pick from a private jet.
I don't understand why it takes so damn long to announce these picks.
You would think with computers it would just be a click of the button.
That's what I'm saying. You know who they're drafting. Just pick the damn player already. What the hell is going on here? And Dan Quinn should be fired, by the way. He should not have that coaching job.
During the middle of the year last year.
Yeah, I don't understand how he has a job, but Arthur Blank is obviously he backs up his coaches. We've seen this over the years, so he's giving Dan Quinn another year. Dan Quinn cost them a Super Bowl. Him and Kyle Shanahan cost them.
More him though.
No, it was Kyle Shanahan. He was calling the plays, not him.
He was calling the defensive plays.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan was calling the plays. Kyle Shanahan cost them the championship.
We're not arguing this again.
Yeah, you don't have to argue it. It was Kyle Shanahan.
And if you didn't think of it then, you saw it last year.
Yeah, it was Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan can't win the big game. He'll never win the big game. I'm telling you that right now. Kyle Shanahan will be out. John Lynch will fire Kyle Shanahan.
Atlanta Falcons go corner. They do go defense with A.J. Terrell. So it's not Fulton, it's Terrell that they went with. And there's the other thing they do. They love Clemson players for whatever reason, too.
It's a no-brainer. Dallas draft CeeDee Lamb. It's a no-brainer. And you know Jerry Jones is going to have a smile on his face.
Jerry Jones is going Judy.
Judy was drafted.
Huh?
Judy was already drafted.
I think that was the point.
I thought
you were making a joke.
He was hoping for Judy. I don't see him going CeeDee Lamb.
Judy,
if he was going to go receiver, he wanted this. It's all about get that little sound effects thing going. It's all about the sexier pick when it comes to Jones. Right there. That's what you're going to see in Atlanta.
Jerry Jude.
That right there is live from Atlanta right now. That was gunshots.
You know what's another interesting storyline? Remember, about an hour ago, we were just bashing the Raiders.
That's the Cowboys. They're clowns.
This is worse.
Clowns.
Well, this is worse than the Raiders pick.
No. I'm not saying that. No, I don't think it's necessarily worse than the Raiders pick. What I'm saying is the Raiders might get Lamb anyway. They might get both of them.
They actually, you know how creepy that is? Can you imagine that?
The Rams the Rams.
They're setting themselves up for another
The Raiders
Hard
get
Knocks.
Lamb and Ruggs. That'd be nuts.
All right. So where does the Cowboys go at 17? Do they go wide receiver? Or do they go after offensive line help? And their offensive line is getting old. They're getting old. Their linemen are definitely getting old. They have arguably one of the best linemen in football in Martin. But this is a line it's aging. Their tackle position is aging. Their other side of their guard position is aging. They need to rebuild, and they have no center. Their center retired.
There's no centers worth taking right now, though. And maybe in the second round they can consider that with Lloyd Cushenberry from LSU or the San Diego State center.
CeeDee Lamb fits the West Coast offense.
But
he does.
We've seen it. Jerry Jones will come up out of that. He'll take guys that are those projected second, third rounders, and he won't wait. He'll pick them up in the first round. He's done it.
I just want to give a shout out to Jillian and Ricky, our social media guys. They are the ones that created all this great artwork that you see in the corner. They are the masterminds. Yes, the masterminds of what we do on social media. So shout out to Ricky and Jillian. They're the best. Why do we have such low content? What are you guys doing? Speedy, what are you going to talk or what?
No, I was.
Why do I always have to make the noise effects? You don't want the sound effects, but you got nothing to say.
Listen, I actually just gave you an opportunity to come up with some weird-ass thing, flushing of a toilet, something. Yeah, that too. You know something? It's too soon for that.
I got
with
COVID-19.
The COVID stuff, that's too soon for that. With the COVID-19 stuff, it's too soon. No, absolutely not. And I'm. Why is it that the pick is not in already?
because
Well,
the
waiting.
Cowboys. There's a lot of
is
different
this?
ways they could go. That's very interesting. Jerry Jones loves the big names, so could he do something weird with a big name, or does he go with Lamb, or maybe they does go DB or something like that, something unconventional. But usually Jerry Jones, he's a business guy. He loves the big names. So I would be very surprised if it was
Hey,
Lamb.
look, it's Mike McCarthy. Big mouth Mike McCarthy, who I've said over and over again, the players that he has on that team right now do not fit the Cowboys. As far as I'm concerned, at the West Coast offense and what they're going to be doing, and I don't care what anybody says. We talked to Kevin Ray, the play-by-play guy, and for the Cowboys, and he said that he's not going to really change their offense. He's going to have to change their offense because he is a West Coast offense guy. And the players that he has implemented on that team do not fit his style of offense. That's why CeeDee Lamb would fit their offense. But again, I could see them drafting something that you wouldn't expect. The Cowboys have done this year in and year out over the years. So, I mean, everybody thought the best pick for them was Ramsey, and they decided to go after Ezekiel Elliott.
So I guess we should be saying right now, what would be the most oddest pick that's probably in the second or third round
tackle
that you see them come up with?
I could see them
Jalen
taking
Hurts.
tackle.
I'll give you even one better. Eric Ruiz, the center from Michigan.
Cesar Ruiz.
Is it Cesar?
Yes,
I thought it was
Cesar
Eric for
Ruiz.
some reason.
You think that's the odd pick that they go with? I mean, that would be the
It's-
one. That would be the center.
It's not like they haven't done it. It's not like they haven't done it.
Errol would be right about that if that indeed was the pick for them. But I mean, this early for Cesar Ruiz, I mean,
It just fits him so well that the one guy that they pick in the first
There's
round,
CeeDee
there's
Lamb.
no camera in
and
his
you
house.
don't see him on the phone yet. He's texting. So if you don't see him on the phone, it's not CeeDee Lamb.
No.
So I do not think it's going to be CeeDee Lamb. Hey, look at that. Mike McCarthy looks completely different with the Cowboys now.
His eyes are straight.
He got fatter.
His eyes are straight.
He got fatter.
It's a
And he
close-up.
got more gray hair, too. Speedy, you have anything to say, or are you going to be quiet? You're a play-by-play guy. I told you you're going to talk a lot. I told you you're going to talk a lot on this show, so you better start talking.
The minute you saw the pick is in, it's just that Stephen King suspense that you're waiting to find it like a kicker or something coming out.
We're
next.
just hoping the Cowboys screw up somehow. Maybe they do take Cesar Ruiz or something like that. I don't think he'll be a bad player.
Don't get me wrong. The
It's
smart move would be picking up CD Lamb, but I don't
Lamb,
see it
yeah, it has
happening.
to.
Right now,
I
we
don't
don't
see it
see.
happening.
He's talking to somebody, but we don't know if it's.
Are they
CeeDee
making
Lamb.
a trade? Maybe.
They're talking to each other.
Oh, they're talking
They're talking to each other.
They are.
You know what would have been suited them
picks
even
in.
better? The tin cans with the string.
Oh.
That's what.
No, that's what Gettleman.
I will
use.
bet money. I will bet money that after they draft whoever they draft, you're going to see the Beef call the show and just jump for joy. He's going to say,
Who's the beef?
"You don't know the Beef?"
He's basically the
Cowboy
caller,
fan.
our second most prominent caller, who's a big Cowboy fan. And if you don't know him for anything else, he claimed Ezekiel Elliott, if he played on Barry Sanders' offensive line that he had in the 90s with Detroit, he would be the same level of running back in terms of numbers.
Here we go. The Dallas Cowboys and Roger friggin' Goodell sitting there with his nice, ugly sweater. Here we go.
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb.
Shocking.
CeeDee Lamb. I'm not
Shocking.
shocked. I'm not shocked.
No, I'm actually surprised that they didn't do some kind of off the wall.
I figured that's
They
what's going to
took the big
happen.
name. They took
And
the
by
big
the
name.
way, Beef, I told you they don't have a real number one. Now they have one. So I was right, Beef, and you were wrong.
And now watch.
Now they have a dynamic duo.
But here's the problem: you got Amari Cooper probably getting pissed off by now.
Well,
Because the first thing he's going to
you
say
got
is this is-
Philadelphia now that has Slay there. Darius Slay is a
the
great
first thing
corner.
they're going to be saying. The first thing Amari Cooper in his mind is this was a personal move
No,
against me.
he
They're
just got
looking
his
to
big
move on.
contract. No, he just got his big contract.
You know he's going to figure out a way to
No,
make it
he
personal.
just got a 5-year, $100 million. He doesn't care. He's taking it to the bank. He's the second highest paid wide receiver in football history.
Listen, I'm not saying that.
I'm telling you, he doesn't. He's happy. You know why? Because now they're going to take pressure off of him.
So
His
now
numbers
he
are
don't
going to
have
be
to
better.
do a damn thing, and they put all the weight on the rookie because he's got guaranteed money.
Well, no, the pressure's on him, but it's going to open up the field for Amari Cooper and Ezekiel Elliott, especially in a West Coast offense. Now it's starting to work in the Cowboys' favor. The West Coast offense, they need a guy that could beat you on the outside. They got one.
And West Coast offense is the prominent thing with them too, is yards after the catch too. And Lamb is he's a good deep threat, no doubt about that. He's a very good deep threat, but he's better with the underneath routes, which is what specializes in the West Coast offense. Even though the Packers were good at complicated stuff too. They still specialize a lot on those screens, those slants, and making tough catches like that. And Lamb's got very good hands too.
And now it's going to be interesting because you already have Tua. Miami's on the clock. You already have Tua. Which way do they go now? Because they have a lot of holes. Well, except for defensive backfield, they have quite a few holes out there. Where does Miami go now?
Very interesting with what the Dolphins could do.
Trade down.
No, I don't think they would. I think they have too many picks already. I think they just need to go quality at this point. I think they really do need a lot of pass rush help, and that might be the best thing at this point because they don't need corner. They have the best corner duo in football with Jones and Xavier Howard.
The best defensive lineman they have right now is Christian Wilkins that they have from last year.
So I think Espinosa or Chason should be the pick for them. The receivers, I think at this point you can wait on. You have enough second-round picks to work with that. There's enough running backs in this draft. I don't think you got to worry about that.
Would it be a shock to see Kenneth Murray or Patrick Queen?
I like them both. I think they need to pass rush more.
And I'm not surprised they drafted somebody like CeeDee Lamb because he's from Oklahoma. And who is this coach? Lincoln Riley. And who did everybody speak highly of who was going to be the next head coach of the Cowboys? Lincoln Riley. So I'm not surprised. Lincoln Riley grew up a Cowboys fan. I'm sure he's very close with Jerry Jones. That's why a lot of people thought that Lincoln Riley was the next head coach for the Cowboys. They went with the veteran coach that's won a Super Bowl and coached Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. So that just tells you how tired I am. I told Speedy before this show that I did not want to speak a lot on this show. I was going to host the show. But
you're doing mostly sound effects.
But I'm talking more than everybody on the show.
Anthony loves the sound effects.
I'm talking more than anybody on the show, which is annoying. I'll tell you that right now.
Would it surprise anybody does anybody actually think Mike McCarthy is a long-term, tenured coach with the Cowboys as Garrett was? I don't. I think, as Errol said, he's just holding the place for Riley.
Well, no, I don't know if he's holding the place for Riley. I think it's more Jason Garrett was there for a while because Jerry Jones really liked him. Whereas with McCarthy, he's been questioned for a while. He was questionable for a while at the end of his tenure at Green Bay. He has a chance to really rebirth himself in a sense. So if he doesn't do that right away, I can see him going maybe after 3 years or something like that.
Jason Garrett was basically a puppet. He was easy to manipulate. He was easy to basically persuade from a GM standpoint. And not to mention your GM is your owner. So, I mean, let's be real.
Is everything
it's not like you're not going to listen to him. So when it came to the moves and such, you know what I mean, you're going to be dealing with that. So that's number one. Now, where McCarthy's going to fall off a little bit, McCarthy's actually had some problems with offices. He's had some problems with GMs in the past. He has. Not to mention he's had problems with some quarterbacks, because let's be real, it's not like he wasn't butting heads with Aaron Rodgers at one point.
Well, of course, and I think that's why he ended up getting fired as a result. I think a lot of that has to do with what Aaron Rodgers wanted in a coach. And, again, he got his coach. Whether it's his fault or not, I don't know. It was also, again, the way the game was changing, I think, too, with his offense. And also, again, they weren't developing as good of receiving talent around him either.
If Mike McCarthy was worried about him butting heads in the confrontation he was dealing with Aaron Rodgers, now he's got to deal with not just an Aaron Rodgers-type personality at quarterback, wide receiver. There's a bunch of them over there in Dallas. So God only knows what the hell he's going to be dealing with over there. And like I said, I think ultimately he's not going to be able to handle that type of locker room with all those different personalities. And Lincoln Riley, how many bad seasons would you give McCarthy before he's ousted?
Two.
I say two. They'll give him one, and just so they don't look like Carolina after Steve Wilkes got screwed over.
He's not lasting.
I'm telling you, he's not going to get to. He's not. What's the length of his contract? 4 years?
I think it is 3.
It's 4 years.
Is it okay?
It's 4 years with 3 years with a fourth-year option.
I honestly, Lincoln Riley's going to get to the point where
I'm telling you, Lincoln Riley is the next head coach of the
Lincoln
Dallas
Riley's
Cowboys.
got one more successful season in college before he's going to be getting all those damn offers. And then don't be surprised if somebody gets fired just to jump in there and scoop him up, which it'll probably be Jones.
It's going to be very fun to watch. As you know, Amari Cooper, and then you have CeeDee Lamb on the other side, and then you have Ezekiel Elliott. Now you have an explosive offense that fits the West Coast offense. The question is, as we move forward going into the season, if there is a season, who's the number one, who's the number two, and how are they going to run this offense through those two guys? That's going to be the question.
Well, From what it
Dolphins
says,
are up right
Miami-
now.
Miami's pick is in. So, again, trading back theory, I guess, not happening there. Again, they have too many picks. So what do we think? I'm going to say it's going to be Chason for them. I think he's still been more upside pass rusher. I think Espinoza lost a lot in the combine, just having some struggles, and he may end up falling later. I think Chason is the pick. But I could see your thing with the linebackers too, because, again, it is Brian Flores. The Patriots' defense has always been prevalent around great linebackers. I think it could definitely be that, but they also need the pass rush, I think, a little more right now, where they can also get Murray or Queen or somebody like that, maybe at pick 26 too.
They could. I mean, that is if they're still there, because I mean, you do have Vegas and Jacksonville, and we all know one thing about
Vegas could definitely go linebacker.
Jacksonville could definitely go linebacker. Yeah. I think Kenneth Murray's probably the best linebacker now that Simmons is off the board.
I have Queen, but I don't have Murray far behind.
Right.
So I think it's definitely interesting.
That means the pick's in.
Where they could go.
I think it's been.
I think
exactly
the type
15 minutes.
I think knowing the type of linebacker that
there was a trade by the
Patriots like.
Oh
no, they're showing last year's
trade.
I think the type of player that, in terms of what they would like, I think Murray does fit them more in terms of what.
By the way, that was a
type
great
linebacker.
pick for Pittsburgh. That was a great pick. That was a great trade by Pittsburgh.
Changed their whole defense last year, if you look at it. So,
and I mean, in all honesty, if you get Murray, I think Murray's seen as more of a leader than Queen is. Just the way he was in college and stuff.
Well, I wouldn't want the last name Queen, so there you go.
Well, Queen is a good player, though, too. But you're right, Anthony, where when you look at Oklahoma, like, they're not known for defense. It's Big 12 defense. It gets bashed all the time for being terrible. Whereas with the SEC, they're known for their defense. So Murray really had to step up as being that individual guy, because they really didn't have much else.
You know, I'm sorry, you're over there complaining. Why am I talking so much? And now we're talking.
I'm
and
the funny guy.
Hell?
I told you I was going to be here. I was
you have to prepare for
the
the sound effects. You just got to talk through them.
What
and
the
Speedy
hell?
likes to scream. He likes to scream.
Oh no, they do go offensive line.
I think it's a smart move.
Austin Jackson is the pick for the Miami Dolphins at 18. It's a pretty good pick. I think again they could have gotten him at 26. I don't know if anyone between 19 and their next pick really needs the offensive line.
Are you sitting there? Are you hanging out with the Raiders and the Jacksonville Jaguars?
The Raiders don't need offensive
Nobody
line.
knows what the hell Raiders
you
doing
praised
at this
them for having
point.
the best offensive line in football last year.
You don't know what other teams are thinking in their heads, if they're thinking a trade or something like that. Just because they had one of the best offensive lines last year, Oakland, doesn't mean they're not thinking, you know what? I want to trade this guy because he's going to be too expensive a year from now or 2 years from now. So you don't know what they're thinking in their minds. You don't know what Gruden's thinking. You don't know what Mayock is. Mayock, whatever his name is. Mayock, whatever his name is. So there you go.
Well, I just think, though, when you still need a lot on defense, I think it's still going to be very hard to do that. That way of thinking is something you could do when you have a lot of parts on your team filled a lot and you don't have many holes.
The way you think is no common sense.
The Raiders don't have many holes right now. Or the Raiders still have a lot of holes on that defense where I think they need to be able to fill those. And they already, even though I didn't like the pick of Ruggs, it's still better than what they have.
On this guy right here.
It's still better than what they have, and they still need to focus on filling the defense. Remember, they traded Khalil Mack for all these picks. They need to make up for the production somehow.
Eric, come on, man.
This is my job, man. This is my job.
Who do the Raiders have as their starting linebackers right now?
They signed Corey Littleton, which is a nice pick for them
still
right
there.
now.
Curry is still there. They have not moved on from him. He is a free agent, but I do believe Curry will be re-signed with them because if he hasn't been picked up yet, I could see after the draft the Eagles will get him on the cheap and probably give him a 2-year or 1-year deal worth about $9 or $10 million.
Outside of Littleton, though, going back to the Raiders, they don't really have much. They have a young player in Markel Lee who's not bad, but he's kind of that second or third guy. He's not really a star. So somebody like Queen or Murray, if they were to draft him, he would instantly slot into that middle linebacker spot.
And on the line, except for Farrell.
They have Maurice Hurst, who's nice. And they Max Crosby had a really good rookie year, who was a fourth-round pick for them. That's a nice pick for them as well. So I don't know if they need the pass rush as much. Maybe they would have gone interior if somebody like Kinlaw fell. But he went to the Niners, so that didn't end up happening. But linebacker and corner, I think, are really what the Raiders need.
Who's the kid, the wide receiver from USC that everybody keeps talking
Michael
about?
Pittman Jr.
That's the guy that a lot of people say the Jets might gun for in the second round because him and Sam played with each other, and they have great chemistry with each other. So,
I mean,
that's a guy that
don't get me wrong, he's a solid receiver.
He's one
You
of the
know what I
most
mean?
underrated
And-
wide receivers
and
in this
the-
year's draft.
The beauty thing about it is, even if they don't get Pittman, if the Jets, I'm telling you right now,
I don't know if he's going to fall into the second round.
If the Jets could pick up that kid from Arizona State,
I like him.
I like that kid a lot.
I like him too.
You know, he's just very under the
I
radar.
don't like Arizona State players, Herm Edward players, because we saw one. We saw one last year get drafted by the Patriots, and he is a bust.
He got hurt.
He is a bust.
Why? Because of Herm Edwards?
No,
because he got hurt.
Apparently,
he's already a
Speedy
bust.
speaks so highly. Yeah, he is a bust. A lot of
He got
players,
hurt.
a lot of players that you have picked that were going to be good are bust.
Okay,
from last
that's
year.
fair. That's every
Washington's defense is going
that's
to be
every
ridiculous.
draft analyst ever. Mel Kiper thought Jimmy Clausen was a great quarterback. Everyone's wrong on something.
Could you lower your mouth? Why do you have to scream? Why do you have to scream? Because you want to hear your voice? Here, I'm going to hear your voice. I'm going to shut it off right here. That's what you sound like. A damn duck. That's what he sounds like.
Don't
Pain
worry.
in the ass.
Could be worse.
What do we got here? Vegas again?
Vegas pick is in.
How nice.
I think it will be.
I think it's definitely defensive side of the ball.
I think this is where it will be
Secondary.
a linebacker. It could be a corner, maybe
they
Fulton
can-
in that
Here
spot.
it is. Here it is, big mouth. You don't talk when I want you to talk, and then you talk too much when I don't want you to talk.
What?
Here we go. Roger Goodell, who doesn't shut the hell
He's
up.
still talking over here.
Did we get the selection?
Was there a trade?
No.
They probably just announced the trade from the Bears,
What the hell just happened here?
which we all knew anyway.
I tell you,
Oh,
this has been
do we have our first
five-star.
technical difficulty
This
of
has
the
been a
virtual
five-star.
draft?
Actually, this has been pretty fluent.
Yeah, is this the first technical difficulty of the virtual
I
draft?
figures it's got to come from the Raiders.
Classic Raiders.
Here's the pick.
The ghost of Al Davis does not like this.
Here we go. The
You and your
suspense is
that
killing me.
terrible laugh, too.
What did you call it?
Would you stop with
No,
him?
I'm trying to remember what
Do you
he
want me to make
called
fun
it.
of you?
You haven't already.
I'm going to.
Wow, all right, they did go corner. Damon Arnett this early. That's interesting.
Who was right on that pick? I was.
But that early for Damon
Told you.
Arnett. That's
Told you.
interesting.
Why is it interesting? How do you know he's not the best corner in this year's draft?
He's not.
He's not.
How do you know?
Nobody's even heard of him.
He was the number 3 corner for the most part on Ohio
He's a
State.
top
He's
pick.
versatile, which I'll give
He
them
didn't
that.
even. He didn't even start.
What do you mean he didn't
He
start?
came in towards the second half of the season.
And he
Right, and he also was very inconsistent. He's penalty prone. I think he was thought of as a third round pick to a lot of people. He wasn't
Yes.
even on the radar for the second round. When you're judging the corners, you were judging Fulton. A lot of people liked Terrell, who just got drafted by Atlanta. A lot of people like the kid from TCU, Jeff Gladney. I like Jalen Johnson, the kid from Utah. I think he actually, after Fulton, will be the next guy in this draft. But I don't think anyone really had Arnett on their radar. Now, he was actually thought of as a very good young player at first, but he kind of regressed in his college career, too, so it's kind of weird.
I love that one.
I'm telling you, man.
Come on, man.
No, honestly,
without
Damon
me,
Arnett, this is not.
Without me, this show would be boring. Okay, a boring show because you have Speedy talking like this, and then Anthony. Well, you know, yeah.
You know what?
You know, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you download another fart freaking sound over there? There we go. That was probably the best one you've had. That was the best one you've had. That actually should have been right there on that one. Please tell me you just saw that reaction.
That
Please
was
tell me
that was for Mike Mayak.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Like he stole
the
something.
Raiders are. I don't know what they're doing. maybe there's like frogs raining or something in the Bay Area right now between the Raiders and the Niners. What bizarre picks they've had! Very bizarre picks they had. Something.
Are you happy now?
You better if you're a Bay Area sports fan, you better hope to be happy with your football teams.
It's just so bad. So bad. So bad.
What? You don't like this?
Between the sound effects, this.
So
Come
far,
on,
the virtual draft has been pretty good.
No, I know, but these picks don't make sense.
Well, that's every NFL draft.
Every NFL draft has picks that don't make
No,
sense.
I understand, but these. These are insane.
As Giants fans, we should know there's so many picks they've done that
Even
don't
as
make
Giant
sense.
fans, this isn't that bad.
Anthony, let me ask you a question. Did anybody think Leonard, the linebacker that was drafted in the second round, was going to be the best linebacker in that draft? No. And that was the Jets pick. That was the Jets pick from Indianapolis. They gave to Indianapolis. And he became the best linebacker and an all-pro player that year. So, again, you can go back and forth. You just don't know what these guys are going to turn out to be.
Nobody will ever know.
The Jets, the offensive tackle that the Jets drafted could be by far the best tackle in this year's draft. Just because Thomas went forward to the Giants doesn't mean he's going to be the best tackle in the draft. It all depends on how they build this kid up. So you don't know what this kid is.
But you want to know something? But even with that being said, there's some you have a judgment based off of some kind of talent that is shown, displayed, presented. I'm telling you, with this shit over here.
In your face, sucker!
Maybe I need to have some counter sound effects or something like that.
I have nothing to go back with them with.
Next week on your MMA show, bring something for counter sound effects for him.
I swear to Christ, I'll be sitting right over there with that show. I'll start ripping
your
shit
face,
apart.
Sorry.
Oh my God. This is just...
All right, Jacksonville, their pick is in. Where do you guys think they go? I'm thinking a pass rusher here. You're going to trade Ngakwe. They've loved having pass rushers. Coughlin, at least as long as he's still been there, he loves the pass rushers too. I'm thinking it's probably Chason.
Did anybody really think that Ngakoue was going to be part of a trade in this draft?
It was possible. It just, again, it would have been harder to deal with this right away in the first round. I don't know if Ngakwe at this point, now being on the franchise tag, will get a first-round pick at this point. He's a nice pass rusher, no doubt about that. He's very well-rounded and young. But, again, with his comments, obviously him wanting out for a while, that's going to downgrade his value. And the Jaguars, with how long they waited, too, that's going to downgrade his value. So I think it could happen tomorrow. I don't think it was going to happen in the first round, though. A lot of people were saying they would trade up with pick 9, which I think made no sense. They should try to keep all the first-round picks they have.
Right.
To try to go up to pick 4 either for a quarterback or for somebody like Isaiah Simmons. But that made no sense to me. I think Jacksonville, they're going to probably get a second tomorrow, maybe packaged with a 4th or maybe a 3rd next year or something like that. Mm-hmm. Multiplying with other picks like that. I know Errol was saying a couple weeks ago that the Jets were offering a 2nd and a 3rd next year, or is it the other way around for Ngakwe? Was it a 3rd this year or a 2nd next year, or the other way around?
The Jets were offering a 2nd this year, and I think a 4th next year.
Oh, a 4th next year. So that's really has been, I think, the market, and the way Jacksonville operates, they're losing value.
He will be traded in this year's draft.
I think he'll be traded maybe tomorrow. Because that's the 2nd and the 3rd round, I think that makes a lot of sense.
And if I were the Jets and you can get Ngakoue for the 2nd round pick, I would make that move. You need a pass rusher. He's one of the most underrated pass rushers in the league. He's in the prime of his career. He's 26 years old. You're going to get yourself an elite, really, pass rusher in the league.
And he's
then you you solidify your weakness at the pass rushing position in a Greg Williams offense where you can really switch it around from a 4-3 to a 3-4. You could go back and forth. And then for the Jets, then you go after wide receiver in the 3rd round and a guard in the 3rd round. And then really you've had a very good draft. You get your pass rusher, you get your offensive tackle, you get your wide receiver. You're right where you want to be. So
yeah, and I think, again, Ngakwe is going to be worth any pass rusher or just even any overall prospect they likely would get in the 3rd round, maybe this year. Maybe not the 2nd because the Jets pick early in the 2nd, but that's why I think it'll be worth it if they give 2 3s or maybe a 3 this year, 2 next year, too. It could also definitely be possible for that. Because Ngakwe is young, and Greg Williams, if he wants to implement back to a 4-3 defense, could definitely get the best out of him. But even Ngakwe is big enough for a 3-4, too. He's, I think, 6'5 and 280 pounds or something like that. And he has great speed for his size, too. So that would definitely be a dynamite trade if the Jets were able to pull that off.
I also want to give a shout-out to Jillian and Ricky, our social media guys and girls, that really have done a great job with all the artwork that they've done today. Give a shout out to our social media crew, Ricky and Jillian Cohen and Ricky Hauser. Great social media guys for us. Shout out to them. Thank you for all the work that they put into this.
A lot of great looking logos. And some of the ones we have there look like tickets too, which is really cool. Great job, guys. Hope you're enjoying the draft.
Do you have a ticket for me to sell Speedy to somebody? Because I don't want him here anymore.
Okay. Oh, stop. You stop with that.
I was afraid he was going somewhere else with that.
You know what's really shocking? What's really shocking...
Don't bring it up. Please don't bring it up if I know where you're going with this. God. Yep.
There we go.
Jaguars do take Caleb on Chase on.
Good.
Number
nice
20.
Pick.
They get the pass rusher they need, speed rusher. A guy that has very good swim move, spin move type. Again, he'll have to develop more as a power guy. But again, he's a guy that definitely could put on some weight.
Having some fun.
Have some strength. He's a decent power rusher for his size. He'll just need to develop that a little more. And alongside Josh Allen and still some of the other defensive linemen that they have, that'll end up being a nice, formidable defensive line. So a nice pick for Jacksonville, I think. Again, assuming they could get the rest of the defense going. They drafted Henderson already. And we'll see on the two linebackers if Smith comes back and if Miles Jack...
Speedy sound effect.
Miles Jack, how well he plays. We'll see if they can get the rest of that defense back to form. But they're focused on rebuilding this defense, and they've done that so far.
Well, now the Eagles are on the clock. They lost CeeDee Lamb.
Well, they weren't going to get him.
But they loved him.
They weren't getting him.
That's all you kept hearing about was how much... I mean, they didn't do what they had to do to come up and get him.
Well, they could get him. Trade with the Cowboys.
Yeah, that'll happen. What the hell? Are you serious?
They weren't getting him anyways. There was no way in hell they were getting him.
Well, Anthony and I were saying trade with Atlanta. It made a lot of sense. Atlanta probably could have gotten Terrell at 21, and the Eagles could have stole Lamb if they really were that scared, but maybe that's not who they want.
I don't think it's that much of a shock if you see Justin Jefferson going this
It's
pick.
possible. I think... See, the thing is, I think with the Eagles, I don't know if Jefferson's really the type of receiver that they need, though. He's a lot like Aguilar to me, where he's that kind of quickness type guy. I think they actually need... maybe a different type. Maybe Ayuk is a guy that could definitely go here. I don't know if they'd reach on Chenault, but the Eagles could gamble there too for a bigger body type. I know they have Alshon Jeffrey already, but again, they could definitely do that. I just think most of the replacement guys that they already had were more of those smaller types, and I think they really need something to help in a different way. But again, do they have to go receiver here now that maybe those guys aren't gone? They could definitely go corner as well, or they could go with a linebacker too. Maybe they go Kenneth Murray or Patrick Queen in the spot too as the best player available.
One thing that fascinates me is when you go back after the pick is done, after they get off the phone, and then you go back to seeing everybody and with their families on the couches.
Yeah, why are they so dressed up?
They're dressed up, and honestly, they are so emotionless.
Well,
you would think that they haven't been told anything yet.
Because you're sitting on your couch and the biggest time of your lives, you're going to celebrate it on your couch.
Errol, whether you're sitting on your couch or not, you're not going to be happy as hell that you're a first-round pick in the NFL?
Everyone reacts differently.
You talk about us not saying anything. Half these people, you got to check to see if they got a freaking pulse.
Well, it also depends on who you are, too. Like, I think players that know they're going to be drafted early, they kind of just accept it at that point.
Yeah, but you don't show any enthusiasm or nothing. I mean, for the love of God.
No, I know. I'm just saying it depends on where you're... the player personality type. It depends on where you're projected to be. That was Jeff's sound effect, not mine, by the way. But okay, it depends on where you ends up getting drafted. So I think in terms of the reactions, somebody like AJ Terrell for Atlanta, he probably wasn't expecting to go this early. But again, obviously somebody like a quarterback like Tua or Herbert, there's a big difference there.
I don't know why you're shaking your head. I'm giving it some flair. I'm giving this show some flair.
I know. I understand.
He's shaking his head, and I'm giving this show some flair.
No, you're definitely are. No, I'm not against the sound effects like somebody else is over there.
This is flair? You usually have some kind of judgment, analytical point on everything.
Well, what do you want me to say? I mean, seriously. I came here. I'm doing the show. I'm doing it live. And I said I wasn't. I was going to host the show, but I wasn't going to talk as much. And I've spoken more than I expected to. So that's why. But again, going into this draft, you would expect the Eagles were looking for a wide receiver. I still think they're going to be looking for a wide receiver. The LSU kid, Justin Jefferson, is a guy that a lot of people think will be a first-round talent. I'm very surprised right now if the Eagles do go with Justin Jefferson because there are other wide receivers. He is going. He is going to the Eagles. He's going 21. So
he's getting hyped, so that likely is the pick. So good call on that one, Anthony.
It's nice to see that he's excited.
And again, he got a lot of hype from, just the LSU mantra with what they're doing. Again, I don't know if it's necessarily the best pick in terms of the value because, again, I think there are a lot of receivers. I think when you look at linebackers with Queen or with Murray, whatever they needed, that could definitely help them. And you look at this Eagles team with other areas they were weak in last year. Since losing Jordan Hicks last year, they really didn't have that other coverage linebacker. They had Nigel Bradham, who was decent in that kind of role, but he's more of an outside guy who's a run stopper type.
True.
So I think Queen or Murray. I think Queen's a little better in coverage, but I think either one of them are both fast guys who could play coverage. I think that's a better pick for them right now. Corner would have been a good option for them too, but then they traded for Slay, so I don't know if they need it as urgently. It just, I think the Eagles, if they were waiting for one to fall with the receivers, I don't know if they would have gotten it. And I think they're probably surprised some of the linebackers didn't get taken either. So I would take Queen if I were the Eagles, because he's another guy that could definitely help in coverage, but you're right, they probably will go with a receiver in this spot.
Mm-hmm. And then not only that, but right after that, you have Minnesota. Minnesota lost Diggs.
You think they would just recycle a receiver like that, though?
I mean, think about it. You got the kid from Arizona State.
You do.
Yeah, nice little pick in there for Cousins.
Sure. I also think, though, too, with the Vikings, they're another team like we were talking about with Atlanta. They lost so much on defense where they don't really need a receiver this early to me. They need pass rush. They need corner.
You need a finger in your butt. That's
no,
what you need.
I don't. They could use somebody like Delpit, too, as an opposite safety to Harrison Smith. I think that could help him a lot, too. And offensive line. They could definitely use some offensive line as well.
Because let's be real. They lost Everson
Griffin.
Griffin.
Look at that pretty sweatshirt. Look at that sweater. Look at that sweater. Look at that pretty man. $50 million later. Pain in the ass. Roger Goodell.
Jalen Reagor. So it is a receiver, but it is not Jefferson. It is Jalen Reagor, who I actually like more. I think that's a better pick for them anyway. So a guy that's
another guy that they said was going to fall to the second round who was a first-round talent.
Yeah, because a lot of people thought he really didn't have a great combine. I don't know where you would see that. I think he did well with the speed. I think he did well with the code drills. He's a nice player. He was I think he was my number 4 rated receiver. I had Lamb, Judy, Chenault, and then him. But Reagor, again, got a lot with his speed, and I think that's a good fit for them. They really needed that type of guy. They have kind of everything else. They have a quickness guy. They have a big body guy with Alshon Jeffrey. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, if he could stay healthy, is a nice, well-rounded receiver as well. And now they get the deep threat downfield that I think really helps them. That's a nice pick for them, too. Not the pick I would have made, but it's a nice pick for them.
Well, you want to know something? Now, Justin Jefferson's open for Minnesota.
You really think that's the best option for them, though? I think they need other things more, though. I think
because besides you have Thielen there. Besides Thielen, who else do you have?
I understand that. I just think Thielen, with the talent that he is, he's a good number 1 option. Not great, but he's a good number 1 option. I think they can afford to wait on that with their second-round pick a lot more. They really badly need corners. How many corners did they lose? They lost Rhodes, they lost Waynes, and they lost Mackenzie Alexander. So you have Mike Hughes right now as your number 1 corner, who's had trouble staying healthy. Then you also lost Everson Griffin, too. You have Danielle Hunter still there, but who's the opposite side guy of Danielle Hunter is, I think right now, Ifeanyi Idegbo or something like that.
Yeah.
And here's the thing with Hunter. As great as he's been one of the most underrated pass rushers in the league. If a smaller guy gets double-teamed, it's going to be a lot harder for him. And the Vikings don't really have much beyond that. So they could definitely go with that as well. And then they also need offensive line. They've needed offensive line for a while.
But see, offensive line at this point can go in the second round because this is not first-round talent for the offensive line that's left. Errol!
I mean, maybe. To an extent, I agree with you. But again, I also think, though, too, with tackles, maybe outside of Jones and I think the Auburn tackle, Prince Wega Tanogo, or whatever his name is, who's a good player. He fell because of his injury. There's really not a lot of tackle depth after that where they could do it with one of those picks and maybe wait on a corner or something in the second round. There's definitely direction they could go in. I think pass rush or offensive line or corner could be definitely all options for them. But the thing is that the tackle depth is not as much. And their offensive line is decent interior-wise. They got better with Garrett Bradbury. Riley Reif's a nice tackle, but he's not a great tackle, and he's getting older too. So it's definitely interesting where they go with that. But I think in terms of the best value pick, which would be best for them, I think either Espinosa or Fulton, Christian Fulton, would be the best pick for them here. And then maybe they do go offensive line at 25, or they do end up taking the other option if Espinosa is not there. But if Espinosa is there for the Patriots, I could see the Patriots taking him too because they need pass rush help as well.
See, I agree with you with Fulton. Fulton was somebody actually, I don't know why it passed my mind, but Fulton actually would be a nice pick here for them. If they don't go Fulton and they do decide to fill the shoes of Diggs, they need something because let's be real, they did not do anything to really improve their situation from the offense standpoint. They didn't help with their tight end play last year Kyle Rudolph fell off quite a bit with his numbers and such. You know, that's why I'm saying if you want to kind of come back and build off of that tight end play, give Dalvin Cook and try to open up the offense a little bit more, you go with another definite solid talent at receiver. That's why I'm thinking if they don't go receiver here, I do see probably Fulton, because I don't know if there's any other talent. Because, I mean, honestly, I think Fulton slipped a little bit down.
I'm surprised, too, because, again, he's the one that him and Delpit were really the ones that didn't really get that LSU mantra.
I'm going to cut out of here. I'm going to cut out of here right now with what you guys are saying. I'm very surprised that Beeve hasn't called the show yet. And he's probably not dancing around in his underwear right now that CeeDee Lamb is now a Dallas Cowboy.
I mean, the underwear might be a little
like
much.
Risky business.
The underwear might be a little much. I wouldn't be surprised if it's down beyond that.
So he's a Cowboys fan like Jeff is a Patriot fan.
Yes.
Yeah,
and they both hate each other.
It's so funny how much they hate each other, too.
Oh, they don't get along with each other either.
Jeff calls in response after the Beef calls to say, "What is this kid thinking?" Like all the time. Like this kid is like he'll insult him to death, and he makes fun of the Cowboys. These Cowboy fans, these fans of he calls them Waste Management University fans.
There's never been a way to try to get both of them on the line at the same time.
Well, we've tried that in certain instances. The Beef does live here. He lives on Long Island, so he has come in at times.
Who's hiding the baby?
And he has fought with Jeff when he's come.
Bro. No fat jokes,
we haven't gotten them really on air at the same time. So it is always something when they fight. But again, Errol's probably right. The Beef is dancing around, doing something nuts. So you're going back to what you were saying about Fulton with the Vikings, and I agree with you. He's fallen a lot, and he was my number 2 rated corner. Henderson was my 3, and Henderson went already to Jacksonville. So it's definitely interesting why he's fallen, and it's definitely interesting that other teams that needed corners didn't take him. So it might be the pick for the Vikings here. Can you see something like Espinosa, though? Can you see?
I definitely could. Espinosa, definitely.
Because I think the Patriots could take Espinosa, too.
Because there's going to be a sense of urgency, considering he's probably the only one that you would say, even if he's back-end first-round talent, Espinosa, that somebody's going to have to pick him up fast, because they're probably afraid that somebody like the Patriots may try. I mean, even though they don't really have to jump up at this point.
Now, it's interesting, though. You also play that dilemma on the other side, though, too. If you don't take Fulton here, the Saints could take Fulton, because they could definitely use a corner, because they have Marshawn Lattimore, who's great, but they don't have really that other opposite guy. They've had rotating guys with P.J. Williams. They brought in Janoris Jenkins last year, tried him out, who played well in certain games, but again, he's also getting older, too. They don't really have that standout number 2 guy, and Fulton can really be that for them. I think Fulton could be a higher-end 2 corner, a lower-end 1 corner in this league. He's not going to be what Lattimore is going to be, but they don't need somebody who's going to be what Lattimore is going to be. So that's the other risk you run if you do take Espinosa here. But again, I think Espinosa is the better pick at this point, just because there's not a lot of pass rush depth. If you fall back on Fulton, maybe you do take a receiver at this point at 25 if Fulton goes to the Saints, and then they could draft their corner in the 2nd round. So it's definitely interesting where they could go. I would go Espinosa here, but Fulton would be a very good pick as well. Now you're still saying Jefferson could definitely be a good option for them too?
Definitely. I mean, but if not Jefferson, probably defensive back more so than Espinosa.
The question is, where does New England go at number 23? Do they
Espinosa if he's there.
Do they go quarterback?
No, I think Espinosa if he's there. They need pass rush too. They had to blitz more often than
they
usual.
Need a quarterback. They don't have a future quarterback.
They don't, but they also don't have a pass rush.
And I don't want to hear from Jeff, this guy and that guy. They don't have anybody on that bench right now that's a future quarterback. And don't tell me Stidham, because Stidham is not the future quarterback.
But this is probably what Jeff would say. Well, a long time ago, they dealt with the guy that they drafted in the 6th round, okay, 199th pick, whatever, and they dealt with him, and look what happened. So why wouldn't they? He would probably come up with that kind of analogy. You know, and it's something that we heard quite a bit today when you heard different shows, even though half the guys were on crack. But I'm just saying.
Speedy, shut off the video over there for the show, because it's slowing down the process, and stick the thing in that corner. Yes.
And plus, nobody wants to see freaking Roger Goodell do whatever the hell he's doing over here.
Shut the image. Shut the video off. Be smart here. There you go.
I was trying to figure out which one it was.
So, let's see what he's got.
You're right.
Justin Jefferson,
Good call.
Wide receiver. Fill in the spot for Diggs. That's ultimately what it is.
Interesting. So we got the Patriots on the board, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the question is, where do the Patriots go at number 23? I do believe they need a quarterback. This is something that I've been saying over and over again since Tom Brady decided to go over there to the Buccaneers. I say go after. You have a chance now to get the quarterback of the future. He could sit on the bench this year. They said it's going to take at least a year. He's going to need a Mahomes type of year where he's sitting on the bench and learning the offense, where Stidham can take over or whoever they bring in, whoever's the backup quarterback or the starting quarterback in this year's coming season. But right now, Jordan Love is the best quarterback on the board, and I think he could be the best quarterback in this draft. So, and to me, that would be the pick if I were the Patriots. If you think Jordan Love is the future quarterback of your organization, then you make the move now. You let him sit out. Just like you've seen Jimmy Garoppolo over the years. He sat the bench, and then he became the starting quarterback.
Don't worry about that because it got traded.
Oh,
the Patriots traded with the Chargers.
To the Chargers.
Belichick
Could they be
stealing
stealing Love from
again.
the Saints? Maybe they... Oh, no, they got Herbert. Never mind. So
now...
Chargers, what could they be doing to try to steal from the Saints? That's interesting. So the Patriots trade back like they usually do. So what would the Chargers...
Weapon, wide receiver.
Do they need a wide receiver, though?
I think they're going to trade. I've said it, and they were in talks with the New York Jets a couple of weeks ago. You were telling me for Mike
Williams.
That's right. So why wouldn't they look for a wide receiver if they think Mike Williams is a guy that they could trade, and they could move Mike Williams in this year's draft? And
what's funny was,
I
remember when I was on I think we were both driving when we heard that on the radio. And it was, whatever, just a smoke screen, whatever. But who the hell would have known that this would have came up like this? But
move the video, Speedy. Move the video.
I mean, unfortunately, we don't know what the terms of the trade are yet because just like everything else, it's taken,
forever.
4 years over here.
It's Roger Goodell. It's the Roger Goodell show.
Now, in regards, you have Derwin James, defense. Bosa, you still have Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see them doing anything defensively with a Kenneth Murray or a Queen adding something like that to kind of really just reinforce the defense coming into now what's going to be a young offensive tradition, just to kind of give some kind of security?
I think that's the most likely thing for why they would trade up with the Saints.
Because I
don't think there's no other reason they would trade up the Saints. New Orleans doesn't need offensive line. That's the other hole that they had. Was offensive line.
Murray or Queen.
Speedy, you are the slowest person in my lifetime. I told you about an hour ago to get that video off, and it's slowing down the cameras, and you're still doing it. What are you doing?
Well, there's no graphic. Unfortunately, there's no graphic for the terms of the deal, because unfortunately they have to hear themselves talk before they pop that thing up. Yeah, of course, they traded.
So the Chargers will get this pick. The Patriots get their second-round pick, which is the sixth pick in round 2, and a third-round pick. All right. That's an interesting deal. Now, it's interesting.
But they still don't have a quarterback.
Maybe they expect Love to fall there? Because, I mean, who's going to really take a quarterback? Maybe besides the Saints, who's really going to take a quarterback at the end of this first round?
Well, here's the thing. You have New Orleans there. New Orleans, obviously, you have Breeze, and you have the backup there, Taysom Hill. Mm-hmm. And I mean, really, we don't see that. We see a lot of these quarterbacks now starting right off the bat and such. Would it be that crazy to think that they would bring Jordan Love to sit for a year behind Breeze? Because I mean, Breeze is signed for what, 1 year or 2 years?
I think it's 2 years.
They have a quarterback in waiting right there.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, I think...
They have a quarterback.
They really see Taysom Hill as their heir apparent?
I do.
And the other thing, too, is
you
see the comments that Hill made this offseason. If they do draft a quarterback in this spot, you're going to really piss off Taysom Hill as well, who wants to be paid like a quarterback. Mm-hmm. And obviously he does a lot of other things on that team. So you're already going to downgrade his trade value that way in terms of you're not going to get as much as you could for him. Now, I don't know if they would have gotten much anyway. But
could New Orleans get any interest for somebody trading up then? Or does everybody feel the same way?
Who else is going to draft a quarterback in this spot is what I don't know. Miami took their guy already, so it's not going to be
Who does Jacksonville have? Just Gardner Mayhew.
Jacksonville is Minshew, but they already picked. They're not picking until the second round. So if a trade like that were to happen, it probably happened in the second round. The Bengals just drafted their guy, so you got them. I mean, you got Seattle doesn't need one. You got the
Seattle
Ravens
City
don't
doesn't
need
need
one.
one.
Kansas City and
The Titans just paid all that damn money for
Tannehill.
For
right.
Tannehill.
So I can't really see who would need one at this point to be able to do that. That's why I think if you're right, the Chargers do select Kenneth Murray. That is the pick, and that is exactly.
That's a hell of a freaking defense.
That's a
really
good
nice defense.
It's a really good defense.
Bosa, Ingram, now Murray. Derwin James comes back healthy.
Well, that's the secret right there. Everybody knows that the heart of that defense is Derwin James. They were not the same defense last year without Derwin James from the injury. And King, who was an all-pro player the year before with Derwin James, did not have the year that everybody had thought he was going to have the second year around. So this guy was one of the best corners in the league his rookie season, and then he really took a step back.
That second half of his rookie year and then into 2018, he was a great player for a while. And then it kind of, when Hayward was hurt this year, when Hayward was hurt at times in that second season as well, he couldn't really step up as the number one guy. Now they don't need him to be. Now he's the number three guy because they also have Chris Harris there now too. So you have Chris Harris, Casey Hayward, and Desmond King. It's probably the best threesome of corners in football. And now adding Kenneth Murray, who can definitely cover I've got
the first statement from the Beeve right here. Cowboys effed up.
What?
They should have took Xavier McKinney.
What? Come on, Beeve. That's the best thing they've done in a while. Well, CeeDee Lamb was a top 10
I
prospect.
thought he was going to jump in his underwear and dance around his house.
God, Beeve,
He's
come
not
on.
happy.
All right. Obviously, that's not going to be with the Ezekiel Elliott Barry Sanders take, but that's now in the top 5 of worst takes of Beeve history.
Oh, but maybe he likes who he likes.
So now you have New Orleans on the clock. Michael Thomas, obviously, you don't have to say anything about who is supporting Michael Thomas right now on that team.
Right.
Who's the wide receiver that's supporting them?
It's
Giddens
Traquan
gone.
Smith. It's Traquan Smith, really.
I don't see them drafting a wide receiver.
I think Austin Carr's their third guy or something like
You
that.
don't think even in this situation?
I don't think so either. No. I think Fulton's the pick for them because they also need a corner. And again, LSU guys
corner
saying
safety.
Louisiana
corner
or Delpit. Yeah.
So I'll tell you right
either
now.
Delpit or Fulton. I think.
Possibly McKinley and possibly Xavier McKinley.
It could be if that's what they like. I just really see the LSU connection with the Saints. It makes a lot of sense. I think Delpit also. I think he's a more skilled player overall. I know McKinney's the better tackler and he's the better blitzer for the most part, but I think Delpit all around is more what
there
they
is
need.
a lot of good players. They're going to fall out of the first round.
Yeah, I know.
There's going to be a lot.
And who do we have to think of that? The Raiders.
Yes.
Well, not just the Raiders.
The Raiders being the Raiders.
Tampa. There were a lot of teams. San Francisco.
It's funny because I saw something on Twitter from a journalist who works for the 49ers, and she said, it's like, it always is funny, why should the Raiders screw up every year?
Well,
and
because
look at what they do. They reached on Henry Ruggs, and then they really reached badly on Damon Arnett.
Well, if you remember last year, everybody thought that they were going to pick up Josh Allen. The
pass rusher went to Jacksonville,
right.
who I wanted for the Giants very
Instead,
badly.
you see Farrell go first, and then later on he got Josh Jacobs. Don't get me wrong, Josh Jacobs had a ridiculously good year.
Yeah,
but no one thought that Farrell was going to be picked before Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, yeah.
And now this.
You know what I think it was, the biggest reasoning for that? I'm not saying it was the right thing, because I think Allen was a much better prospect, but I think Farrell was more set for a 4-3 than Allen was, and that's what John Gruden was operating with there. They brought in Paul Gunther as their defensive coordinator, who was a Bengals guy attacking 4-3 like the Bengals always are defensively. So I think he was more of a fit for that. But you're right, I probably would have taken Allen if that was the case, just because he's just the better prospect. And Farrell, I think, was somebody, you didn't know where he was going to go. He was a very interesting prospect because a lot of people like me thought he was going to go top 10. There were other people who didn't think he would go to the end of the first round. So it's definitely very interesting what they did. But you're right, they definitely shocked a lot of people by doing that at the same time.
They're letting the time go here. Especially after, with all the talent that drops. Sometimes you usually see this with the time with all this, time going and everything like that.
Yeah, again, there's two.
Because they probably didn't expect some of the talent to be there on the board either.
There's a lot of decent options, which is why the Saints could definitely go to a lot of different directions. I think right now they're the most talented team in football, but they definitely still have their holes, like you were saying, with receiver and secondary. I think those are really the two to look at. If they want to take Queen as well, I don't think that would be a bad pick either, because you add another coverage linebacker to help out. The Saints, the biggest thing they've had trouble with schematically speaking, is guarding slot areas, which is something that could be helped out with a guy that can man cover like Queen can. I think he's the best man coverage linebacker in this draft, and also could play outside too and run with a lot of those slot receivers.
And who do the Saints have now at tight end? Because they lost their tight end this year. Who do they have at tight end depth nowadays?
But then again, it's Jared Cook still. Jared Cook's still there.
Then again, I mean, we are talking about the Saints here. They don't really do much with their tight ends anyway anymore.
No, it's a revolving door with what they've had since Jimmy Graham has left. They tried Kobe Fleener. I thought that would work. It didn't work. Now they're trying Jared Cook. They've had Josh Hill, who's been a kind of a steady guy for a while. It's really interesting with the tight ends, if they do end up going one, where they will take it, because they don't have a lot of picks. So if they really want to take it, if they have a guy they like, they could take it. But again, I really think with Cook still there, that's at least enough of a stopgap where they could definitely wait on it if they want to wait on it until next year kind of thing. And do that, because I really do think the secondary depth is a little more necessary, and like you were saying, receiver. I don't know which one they do here. I would do Fulton, but again, they could definitely do a lot of different things here. They could go with a receiver. A guy like Chenault's an interesting risk because he's a guy that actually Breeze has worked well, not him specifically, but those types of receivers are guys Breeze has worked well with in the past, those bigger body types.
Yeah.
So that could be an interesting in terms of a scheme fit, what they could do.
I don't know. Well, just like everything else, as we've said millions of times, they say the pick is in, and then you got to wait for Peyton, for,
See,
Sean
they
Payton
have technical
to give a little
difficulties
speech.
they're not telling us about. I think that's really what it is. They want to claim nothing was wrong, that everything is going wrong to them. Obviously, we can't hear anything, but that's what the NFL would say, knowing them and Roger Goodell's giant ego.
Hopefully they do something with that secondary, but who is this? Oh, it's Peyton.
That's
Anyway.
Sean Payton, who, again, they can go in a lot of different directions here, the Saints. So
I would like
All right,
to see Xavier McKinley finally get off the board. I feel like he's been out there
Final
too long.
picks, who do you think they take? I'm going to go Fulton here.
I wouldn't be surprised if McKinley goes here. He's been on the board way too long.
It's possible.
And it's not like they can't use him.
What do you got, Errol? Who do the Saints pick here?
Mrs. Kloiber.
Oh, God.
Do you want to know something? That's a lot better answer than I thought he was going to say. He had that look on his face.
Anthony, you have to figure out what I have to deal with.
No, trust
every
me.
pre-show for a good,
And that's the cry of her screaming
for
when
a
she
good
gets
like
picked.
2 hours, 3 hours, depending on whenever he picks me up. That's all I have to deal with is him making those kinds of things. So
That's the creepiest laugh in the world.
I guess you're right, because that's a sound of sound of triumph right there. But definitely interesting. I don't know how many sound effects Anthony's going to be able to take anymore.
No, it's traumatizing, but it's okay.
It's traumatizing.
It's traumatizing, but it's okay.
Again, Jeff's not on the phone. You said that was
All right.
specifically a Jeff sound effect.
Roger Goodell is up to bat.
In your favorite sweater.
It's a terrible sweater.
Agreed. And the Vikings on the clock?
I know one thing. Somebody's real happy right now, but they didn't say who it was.
I can't tell. Nice job. All right, so even if they don't want to admit it, their first technical difficulties of this virtual draft, or their second, it's a bigger guy though, so it's probably not a wide receiver or a corner. Is that Queen? Could that be Queen? I can't tell. I don't know what that is because it's a bigger bodied guy. Oh, it's Cesar Ruiz.
The center.
Wow, that's interesting.
And you want to know something?
Didn't they draft a center last year?
They did. Eric McCoy
Why did they
was
bring
their
another
second
one?
round pick. It's a weird pick. They love versatile offensive linemen, so it's not like anything that doesn't
Unless
fit
they
for them.
drafted him to trade him.
No, not after 1 year.
Or they moved them over.
No, I'm talking about Cesar Edwin Ruiz. Maybe
Ruiz may be going to guard.
They might trade. They might trade him.
Or McCoy could go to guard too, because he's also played there as well. But again, it's another versatile offensive lineman that the Saints like. Again, I just don't know if they need him. They have one already in Pete, who I don't love, but he's a decent enough versatile offensive
Oh, he
lineman.
went to the Saints.
I mean, here's
Yes.
the thing. He was not.
I thought he went to the Vikings.
He was not slated to be in the first round. He was
Right.
definitely a second or third round projection.
Because I know the Vikings drafted that top center last year. That's why I thought he was going to the Vikings.
But again, he would definitely play guard if he was on the Vikings.
But don't get me wrong, he's a really good player.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't think he was going to get in the first round.
He's a good player. I just think he's a little bit of a reach considering they need other things too. And now if you're the Vikings, you're definitely salivating that Fulton's still there and Espinoza. You have your pick from both of them. I don't know. Or even Delpit too. I mean, they have Anthony Harris. Well, no, they have Anthony Harris still, I guess, on the franchise tag, who had a great year last year. I don't make any sense what they did with the franchise tag. That was his first great season, but they could even go Delpit if they want to go with the 3 safety thing. Maybe they think they're not going to be able to get enough corners to be able to fend off this defense anyway, so maybe they go with the 3 safety thing that a lot of teams have been doing now. That's definitely something that is definitely interesting if they do want to go Delpit, because Delpit's definitely a better version of what they had with Sendejo, who I thought was very overrated for a while.
And I'm going to keep saying the guy's name because he's still on the board.
Ayuk?
Not only Ayuk,
okay.
well, they got their wide receiver, but now Xavier McKinney, he's still there. McKinley, the safety from Alabama. Now it's getting to the point where he's there way too long.
So again, if the Vikings wouldn't take him, you got Miami. I don't think they would take.
I would have thought possibly the Patriots could have picked him up if they didn't go cornerback.
Do they need a safety though? I don't think that's their biggest problem.
They're aging in that backfield.
See, that's fine. I'd rather go for holes first over what's aging, and then fill what's aging when you have all that filled in. And the Patriots have a lot of other draft picks where they could do that. There's going to be not better safeties, but in terms of better value picks available in the 2nd round and 3rd round where they can do that. And the Patriots now, they got the extra draft pick from the Chargers. They have 3 third-round picks now to be able to do something like that. They could take the small school safety that they had, Duggar, I think his name is, Kyle Duggar, the kid from that Arkansas school. I can never remember the name of it. You have somebody in Antoine Winfield Jr., who's my favorite safety after Delpit personally in this draft. I think he's very good in coverage, and he's the kind of versatile guy too that I think the Patriots would definitely strive after, because he can also play corner as well.
I know a lot of Giant fans I know are pissed off right now because they wanted Cesar Ruiz. So, I mean, unfortunately.
Wait a second.
Minnesota traded the picks to the 49ers.
So, wait a second. So, Giant fans are upset because they drafted arguably the best tackle in the draft.
No, this is what it comes down to. And there's a lot of guys right now that usually I would be sitting next to watching the draft with that I've done for many years. I'm getting text messages constantly that people are pissed off about this Thomas pick. A lot of them were expecting Simmons to go in the 1st round, and then later, 2nd round, we could get Ruiz. Didn't happen.
Okay.
It's not going to happen. So now, just like anything else, you just deal with it. But here's the situation. Somebody else, I forgot who it was. Maybe it was Errol, maybe it was Speedy, maybe it was a couple of people, maybe it was even Jeff. At least now we have a definite somebody because to deal with Chase Young.
By the way, the Vikings trade the pick to the 49ers.
Whew, okay.
And I'm wondering what the 49ers gave.
49ers are making a lot of moves. John Lynch is a really smart GM. He's moving.
Who just recycled a pick.
What he did was he made a move back to move forward in the draft, the later draft, and they're going to get their wide receiver. I don't know who they're going to draft, but they're going to get their wide receiver.
Well, here's the thing: you still have Ayoku out there, which we all keep saying is a really good player.
Ayuk would fit them too because they really need the bigger body type. That's really the one thing they don't have. Is that bigger body type. Every receiver on that team is all small, speed-type receivers.
How do these guys have millions and millions of dollars? When you look at their houses, they're so disgusting. Look at that lamp that John Lynch has.
I don't know
My
why.
grandmother has that lamp.
I was thinking the same damn thing. You realize the players that are getting picked right now, they have nicer houses than these guys that are getting paid millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars, John Lynch. Look at that smirk on his face. Stealing from people. That's what he does.
And, of course, the pick is in, but...
Man, the pick's in.
The pick's in for
14, 15 minutes later.
Yeah. it'll be
Wait,
tomorrow.
Here, no, check it out. This will be the fastest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Look at that. And that ugly sweater. How much did that sweater cost him? $500? Or it was free? It's got the NFL PA sign on it. That's why it's free.
Brandon Ayoku.
Yep, right. Good call.
Nice pick.
Very nice pick. That's the big-bodied receiver they need. And
like
another guy
this-
who's versatile, too. He played both slot and outside. With
I think he's an
Arizona State.
overrated wide receiver.
Really?
Yes.
But again, even if he's not...
For this far back in the first round?
I thought he was a second-round draft pick.
Okay, but again, even if he's not the same production level he was in college, I don't know if the Niners need him to be.
The better wide receiver right now, to me, if there was a wide receiver, the Colorado wide receiver is
Shenault,
really
okay.
He's really good, and Pittman, who a lot of
But
people
Pittman's
thought
not really what they need, though. They don't need a quickness
What-
type
but
guy.
here's
they
the
need a
thing.
wide receiver.
If we're talking
they need
about
a playmaker.
If we're talking about the 49ers, next time the 49ers come around in the second round, would he have been there?
Yes, I do.
You think it would have been there?
Yes, I do.
31, it's possible,
I
because
do.
there are other receivers still to be taken, too. So it's definitely possible. And again, the way they're moving,
Are they
definitely
drafting
could have
still at
traded up
31?
again. No, they traded that pick up with the Vikings. So the Vikings are now picking at 31, which is very interesting because they still have an assortment to take from, but it's interesting. They could use the quality right now over the quantity because their team is still pretty good. It's just, I think they need more of the star power that they could get with somebody like Fulton or somebody
So
like
far, we've seen
Espinosa.
two wide receivers come out from Arizona State from Herm Edwards' crew, and both of them have not done anything. Yes, they were rookies, but they have done nothing explosive or impressive by any one of them. I think this kid is a bust. I do. I don't think these Arizona State wide receivers are any good. That's just my opinion.
Right, but you can go with a trend all you want. Somebody's got to break the trend eventually.
Really?
Sam Darnold has done it for USC quarterbacks.
No, Carson Palmer was a great quarterback.
Right, but that was the only one. So again, you're dealing with how many bad USC quarterbacks, and how many people were saying, "Oh, the Jets screwed up because they took another USC quarterback," whereas Darnold has now shown that he's a good quarterback. So somebody's got to break the trend.
First of all, anybody that said the Jets made a big mistake drafting Sam Darnold obviously doesn't know anything about a draft. Because I
agree.
He was the best quarterback in that class. He should have went one. And the Browns will regret it 10 years from now when Baker Mayfield's no longer their starting quarterback and Sam Darnold is still the quarterback of the Jets or somebody else as a starting quarterback and an elite quarterback. So.
But again, something like that has to end at some point. There are certain schools like that do have that sample, but again, a lot of those types are also running type quarterbacks too. And again, it's the same thing with any other position. So Arizona State had one receiver right now that had injury problems. Okay, we'll see what he is. Then you have Ayuk now, who gradually has gotten better with Harry now not being on their team anymore, and he produced very well. He's a big-bodied guy. He's skilled. Pretty durable for the most part. And again, I think he's exactly what the Niners need, that type of receiver. Now, I agree with you, Chenault's better. I think Chenault would have been a better pick than Ayuk. But again, if it wasn't Chenault for the 49ers, it would have been Ayuk in terms of the type of receiver they need. You want to be able to balance your offense out. You don't want your offense to be all the same types of things. And the Niners have a lot of small guys right now. They have a lot of smaller type, Deebo Samuel, and you got Jalen Hurd, who they drafted last year. You got all those running backs that are all quickness type running backs. They need a bigger bodied guy to help out in terms of just giving their offense a different dimension in terms of that, in terms of something like that. And Ayuk, I think, is that type of guy that they could use and definitely could fit. All good offenses have balance to some extent. You're not going to be able to win with the same types of players all the time. Look at the Chiefs this year, who just won the Super Bowl. Sammy Watkins was a good counter to what the speed-type receivers they had. Same thing with their running backs. So you look at that type of offense, you never want to have the same thing. So I think it was a very good pick.
And with the 26th pick, Miami is on the clock now.
Again.
They kept everything. They didn't use it to trade anything up. They didn't do anything razzle-dazzle or anything with it.
So far, this virtual DJ. This virtual NFL draft has been very successful, as far as I'm concerned. Not a lot of mistakes. It's been pretty good.
No,
it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
I mean, we could have just basically said that the Raiders, had all of the technical problems and mistakes that have to.
Well, we're having technical problems because I think these additions are slowing down the computer. So.
Okay. So with the last pick that they have in the first round, Miami, they already went quarterback. They won offensive tackle. Where do they go now?
They got to go defense somewhere. Either it's going to be Patrick Queen or Espinosa at this point. You have to get something in that front seven. That secondary is good right now. You got two very good corners. And even the safeties, the young safeties they had last year with guys like Nick Needham, guys like that played very well for Miami. Eric Rowe, who played on the Patriots as a corner, He was decent as a safety for Miami. Like, they had those guys, but now they need the front seven talent to go with it. They have Wilkins. They bring in Van Noy. They brought in Shaq Lawson to help on one pass rush side. So they need somebody else to work with that. So I think it either has to be Queen or Espinoza.
I think it's going to be Queen. I think it's going to be Queen to kind of fill up the middle. If they go to line, they already have some pieces on line that help them out. Obviously, defensive backs, we don't have to talk about. I mean, do we really have to say that they need help?
They don't. That's the one thing they don't need, I don't think,
Well,
is D-line. But they could go everywhere else, literally. I mean, they could even go receiver, too, if they wanted to. I don't know if it's the biggest need for them right now. And with all the second-round picks they have, I think they could wait on that. Whereas Espinoza, it's a big drop-off after that.
I mean, would it be that big of a surprise if you see that receiver from Colorado go right now?
I wouldn't be surprised because, again, I think talent-wise he's really good. I think he was the third best talent in this draft. He only slipped because of he just had surgery on his knee, and he had some injury problems in college. But skill-wise, he's very good. Now, the only reason I don't know if I love it for Miami is he's very similar to what Devontae Parker is. So I don't know if they want two of the same type of receiver either. So that's where I thought somebody, if they were to take a receiver, maybe somebody like a Jalen Reagor would have fit if they were to go to complement Parker and what he could do. Because Parker's not overly fast, but he's a good physical guy, can make tough catches. And I think Chenault's that same kind of player. He's fast for his size, no doubt about that, but he's still kind of similar to what Parker is. So I think if they were to go offense at this point, it would probably be more offensive line, but I think they really have to stick to defense at this point with the value picks that are just there right now between either Queen or Espinoza. I'll agree with you. I think it will be Queen, just knowing the tendencies of Patriot and Patriot-like coaches. They tend to prioritize the linebackers a lot. So I think that's really where they're going to go, especially coverage linebackers, too. They love them. And Patrick Queen, I think, is the best one for sure. Not only a good zone guy, but a really good man guy, too. He's got the speed, he's got the size, and ball skills as well to be able to do it.
And at this point in the draft, in the first round, with what the teams that are left, Jordan Love, surprisingly...
hold on. Dolphins trade pick to Green Bay. Okay. So, all right, they're not keeping the pick after all. Now, where do the Packers go from here? What could they be stealing from the Seahawks? Maybe this is Queen, you wonder, because they need linebacker, too. I think this has to be Queen. I don't know why they would want to steal.
I don't know why they're showing Jordan Love right now.
Why? Aaron Rodgers is 35, 36 years old. They need that quarterback to take over.
Why would they need to trade up for him, though?
But I don't disagree with that at all. But do you really think Aaron Rodgers is even... Aaron Rodgers holds a lot of the cards over there. We just see the way the offense works out and everything.
Yeah, but Aaron Rodgers has another 2 years, and he's done.
Oh, you know what? This is interesting, too. Maybe your guy finally goes here, because Seattle does need safety. Green Bay needs safety. I could see this could be McKinney as well, or it could be Delpit if that's the safety they prefer. I don't know which one, but Green Bay tends to like a lot of Alabama players, so it could be McKinney very easily. Or it could be Queen, because I think Queen is a big need for them.
Where was Green Bay originally picking from?
30. So they're trading up They're trading up a couple picks. We'll see what they end up doing. I think Queen is definitely the pick I would do for Green Bay because that run defense was terrible last year. Well, I think they were 24th in the league.
Now they lost Frickel and they lost
Fackrell and Martinez.
They lost two linebackers.
So I think that's definitely. And even if they still had those guys there, I think they still needed the linebacker. It wasn't something that I think you could shy away from either because that run defense was really bad. Not only in the NFC Championship game, which you saw the Niners carve them up, but all season long. Really, besides the first 4 games, that run defense is really bad. And there's really no interior guys that you would take in this spot because they also need that too. Kenny Clark's a nice nose tackle, but they don't have the defensive ends to really help them there. Rashawn Gary's kind of a versatile guy who could do a lot of different things, but he's not really he's still kind of raw in a sense. But there's nobody I would take here. Maybe if Kinlaw was still there, that would be the pick for them. But I think if I'm the Packers, this has to be Queen for me. But I think they'll take McKinney. I have a weird feeling.
And the pick is?
Queen.
Jordan Love.
Wow, you're right, Errol. Good call.
There you go.
I don't know why they would need to trade up to do that, though. That doesn't make any sense.
Obviously, they thought somebody was going to do that.
Seattle, Ravens, maybe Tennessee.
There's your future quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. Take over for Aaron Rodgers.
That's the perfect spot for him, so I like that. In terms of a system, in terms of that kind of quarterback franchise in terms of them being just offensive
Some
minded.
people believe he's the best quarterback in this class.
I could see it. But I could see it. Like I said, I could see it depending on where the situation was. This is a very good situation. A franchise that drafts receivers well, notoriously, and always has done well with quarterbacks. They know how to work with them. Aaron Rodgers was that guy for 3 years, sat behind Favre, and maybe you'll see Love do the same for the last 2 years of Rodgers' contract.
Well, here's the thing. Usually, with now this ongoing thing with quarterbacks, Errol, a struggling Green Bay team. Is there a snowball's chance in hell? No pun intended. We're dealing with the frozen tundra over there. Is there a frozen snowball in hell that if the Packers struggle, you see Love this year?
No.
You won't see Love for 3 years.
No. I think they're going to do the same thing they did with Rodgers. The same kind of
You
thing.
will not see. You might not see Love until their coach gets fired.
Don't get me wrong. I agree with you, but it's this ongoing trend. Like, if you remember back even in the 90s and the 80s, somebody would get drafted, a quarterback would get drafted, they would sit. They would be sitting there holding the clipboard. You know, the last 7-8 years, you don't see that anymore.
Well, here's the thing about Love that everybody keeps talking about. The guy's got a much better arm than people really notice. The guy is very accurate, and he's very good. He's very athletic. He's as athletic as Aaron Rodgers is in and out of the pocket.
Definitely.
So, and he fixed the West Coast offense.
His biggest downside was he came from a small school.
But
when
when has that been a problem? I mean,
no, but what I'm saying is, could you imagine what would have
So
happened?
did Tony Romo.
right?
So did Jimmy Garoppolo.
Could you imagine this kid if
So
he
did
was
Josh
actually
Allen.
on?
Like there's guys that come from small schools.
So did Carson Wentz.
Right.
If this kid played on Arkansas or in Oklahoma or something like that, could
Yeah,
you
'cause
imagine?
Arkansas football's great.
No, but what I'm
They haven't
saying
been
is
good in
a
long
bigger
time.
name school.
No,
A
you're
bigger name school.
absolutely right. But as an analytic kind of way, I think Jordan Love fits what they're trying to do. They needed to find the guy that's going to take over for Aaron Rodgers. Now they found him. Now they just got to build him up and hope he develops into the player that a lot of experts think he's going to be.
Right, and again, the other thing you look at too is he has that time to be able to do that. And again, because he's that small school guy, yes, he'll need the time, sure. But again, this is a good situation for him. And again, the Packers as well have always done well with smaller school guys. They tend to take a lot of wacky picks a lot of the time. So if there's anyone that can get them comfortable with that kind of situation, it would be a team like Green Bay who could do something like that.
And now we have Seattle on the clock, the team that just annoys the hell out of me. I don't know why
They're the
annoy hell
they're
out
the
of me.
weirdest drafters ever.
I don't know why they hell.
Don't be surprised if they trade back either, because they do that all the time.
Don't be surprised if they draft a running back here.
I don't think so. I don't think running back. They have too many already.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it.
So you think they just gamble on something they don't have? They already have a ton of.
It almost seems like they're in a gamble situation right now, because for what's out there in terms of talent, I mean, it would make more sense if they go after
Espinosa.
a Winfield or an Espinosa,
Espinosa.
Or even a Queen. I mean,
I don't know if
understand
they
you got
need.
Wagner.
I don't think they need linebacker as much though. I think it would be either pass rush or secondary if they were to go here. But again, they do very wacky things, so it really wouldn't surprise me with anything they could do. Like if they were to take a position that's unknown, it would be something wacky. You know, the other thing I could no, they don't really need receivers.
Why is it the first player they really interview is
Never
a quarterback?
Gets-
That's number 26, 27.
It's kind of funny how it's not Tua, not Burrow,
No.
not Herbert,
No,
none of those guys.
It's Jordan Love.
Not even Chase Young.
It's Jordan Love. And I'll tell you this right now: Aaron Rodgers is not happy.
Oh, he's pissed right now.
Oh, I guarantee you he's not happy. Because you know Aaron, he doesn't want to be looking over his shoulders. He believes, if you ask Aaron right now, he's got 4 or 5 good years left. I don't. I think Aaron Rodgers, with the injuries he's had, the collarbone situation, his leg injuries, his knee, his ankle, Aaron Rodgers has 2 good years left. And he's a Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer.
No doubt.
One of the best quarterbacks of our era, if not one of the most underrated quarterbacks of our era as well. So
How many years did he have to sit behind Favre?
3. It was 05 through 08. Oh no, 4 years. 05 through 08, and then the 2008-2009 season was his first one. So they went 6-10 that year. Then they were a playoff team after that, and they lost that crazy wild card game against the Cardinals, the 51-45 game. That was his first year at the playoffs.
Could you imagine right now if he's saying, if you think this kid's jumping up here and you made me wait all that damn time, he's waiting just as long as I did, probably.
here's the problem I have right now with this draft. There is no reason why Seattle is sitting here and waiting with two all the way through. Usually after the first 15 picks, it goes fast, the first round.
I think they're trying to trade back because that's what they do a lot. And you know who would be perfect to trade back and jump your division rival right now is Cincinnati.
Picks in.
Oh, no. Never mind.
Seattle is drafting.
So they keep their pick, which is very rare for them. And it could be very unconventional. They do this a lot. They love versatility, too. You know what? It wouldn't surprise me if this is somebody like Winfield. I could really see that in terms of what Seattle does historically, because they love those versatile defensive backs, and they love those bigger defensive backs, too. The other weird pick, just because he's a scheme fit for them in terms of big defensive backs, is the Mississippi State corner. I'm drawing a blank on his name. I'll look it up right now. He's a huge corner. I think he's 6'3", like 210 or something like that.
Yeah.
He'd be a nice scheme fit for them. As he's going to be more of a project corner. Cameron Dantzler, who is a very good man coverage guy. He's just weak in zone, but he's a press guy that Seattle loves those bigger corners if you look at them all over the years, even before Pete Carroll was there. So that's a weird pick I could definitely see for them too. So I really think they're going to go unconventional, even though I think they should go Espinosa. I don't think they will. They'll probably go unconventional.
No, I think it's either going to be Winfield. It's going to be either McKinley or Winfield.
So McKinney, all right. Does McKinney finally go? Does McKinney fall out of the first round?
Listen, I like the kid. I mean, that's just me, though. But
I think he needs to improve in coverage a little bit, but he's definitely a very good tackler. He's got good speed, and he can play all parts of the field. I just think he's a little penalty prone for my liking, and he's could be better in coverage. But if a team needs a box safety, I think he's a good fit for right now, and depending on who it is, could develop in coverage. So this is definitely interesting. And the Ravens, who picked 28, they're probably salivating right now that Queen fell this far because that would be a great pick for them. Get somebody on the
Queen
inside.
fits into that historic mold of linebacker for them.
Right.
It really does.
The one weakness the Ravens defense had too last year was guarding tight ends too. So Queen is the perfect guy for them.
Queen's going to Seattle.
He definitely could. I mean, they love linebackers too. The Seattle tends to draft very weird, though, so I don't think it's to be something that conventional.
Queen next to Wagner would not surprise me one bit.
No, it'd be a great pick for them, no doubt about that. It just, the way Pete Carroll's always been, Seattle always takes the strangest...
He's not making the picks.
I understand that, but I'm really talking them and the front office since he's been there, too. Whatever combination you want to claim makes the picks, their picks are always weird. So it's definitely interesting where they could go here. If I were them, like I said, I would go Espinosa or Fulton. I think Fulton would be a good pick for them, too. They help out their secondary. But they don't really need interior. They don't need linebacker help, but they really need everything else on that defense.
This pick is dragging. Dragging.
Just as much as our video.
Goddamn bad.
Just as much as our video on social media. And I want to apologize to all the fans. If it keeps going in and out, I understand. We have a lot of graphics, and a lot of graphics take a lot of speed of the system. We have a lot of iPads, computers running down, in the studio. So it does slow up the internet, but we're still live. We're actually staying a lot longer. The show was supposed to end at 10 o'clock.
You were supposed to stop at 10, and then.
But I've stayed on this to finish the show.
We basically just have to go all in after this point. And we got 27. We got 6 picks left, and then probably some other crazy trades that are going to happen.
Well, I don't know if we're going to stay live for 6 picks, Speedy. I don't think that's going to happen. Once it hits 12 o'clock, we're good.
No, all right, so 6 picks is not going to get 27 minutes, so that's not happening. Yep, see, like I said, unconventional. Jordan Brooks is the pick for them, an outside pass rushing type linebacker. Well-rounded guy. I think he could definitely fit with that defense, but again, it's a little early, like I was saying, for somebody like that. Nice player, though, but a little too early. Second-round pick.
But at this point in the draft with these teams, like you said, there's 6, whatever. There's so many picks left. What is there? 3 picks left?
There's 5 picks left.
5 picks left. You know what's on the board. You know what you were looking for. Things have dropped. There's no reason why it should take this damn long to get the picks in.
I don't understand.
Baltimore hasn't moved from where it was.
And that's why you know where Baltimore's going.
They have to go Queen.
They have to go Queen at this point. I mean, it's...
Their defense already stacked. Just add another one.
It makes...
Right.
Anything...
But you're solving the one weakness that defense had.
You don't have any wide receiver talent that you would say
You
would
watch,
need to come
Speedy.
up.
I can't wait until Queen doesn't get drafted by them, and I'm going to watch your fucking stupid face. Let me tell you. Because I sit here and I listen to you. They must go with that. They're going to go with that. And they don't. They don't go with that.
I'm not an NFL GM. I don't know.
Where
I'm
would
saying
you
what would
say
be the
they
best
should go?
pick would be.
I think the Ravens are they're gonna try to go for the best player available, but maybe the best player available isn't him.
Okay.
So, maybe they think the best player
Chenault,
available
maybe?
is somebody
You
else.
think Chenault maybe is the
I
best
don't
player
know.
available?
I don't know.
That,
But for you to say, it's definitely going to happen, it's not.
no, I'm
definitely
not.
gonna
I'm not
happen.
saying it's definitely going to happen.
You just
nobody,
said it.
Nobody can predict the draft,
You
but I'm
just
saying
said it
I'm
was-
saying they should be salivating.
Even if they reach for a receiver,
Maybe-
would it be that
maybe-
shocking?
No, I don't think a receiver would be a
Maybe.
reach though.
Well, they drafted Hollywood Brown, so they're not going wide receiver.
You don't think to add to that?
No,
Yeah, who else do they have besides like Willie Snead after
And
that?
I mean,
they're not going wide receiver.
their line is good. You don't have to worry
Right.
about their line. Tight end, they're good.
Yeah.
Running back, obviously, they're good.
I could see corner.
You know,
They have enough at corner too. They have Marcus Peters. They have Marlon Humphrey. They have Tavon Young. They have enough.
who do they still have at
corners.
safety?
They have Earl Thomas and Tony Jefferson, who are both very
Thomas,
good. Yeah.
Earl Thomas, getting a little old there. Is it? I mean, picking up a safety, would it be that shocking?
Put it flat, Speedy. Use logic here. Complete logic. Put it flat. Don't worry about it. It's not on. You're moving his camera. What? Sit down. Sit down here. Sit down. Sit down. Take over the show and don't touch anything because you're very bad at it.
So I don't think any receiver would be a reach though at this point because they don't need anything else. And I think you look at Chenault, who's another interesting guy. He's another guy that's an RPO type option too. He played a lot of running back, wildcat quarterback in college too, where he could definitely fit that type of offense. So if it's not Queen, I could see it being Chenault too. And they're a team that can afford to gamble on the injury because they don't need much. They don't need anything else on that defense really. Offensive line, like we were saying, is very good right now. Running game is excellent, and obviously tight end, they're always stacked at.
The worst thing that could possibly happen right now is a trade. A trade, and then they would just prolong the pick. That's one thing I always get kick out of when they trade, and then they give them another 5 minutes. Obviously, you moved up to trade for someone that you saw, but no.
But again, the other thing I look at too with the Ravens, they also got a second round pick from Atlanta back when they traded Hayden Hurst too.
Yes.
That's why I think in terms of the depth of the linebackers, there's not as much in terms of in comparison to the depth of the receivers. So that's the other area I could go into. Now, if it's also not Queen too, you know who else really fits? And we were talking about him earlier for the Giants. Is
Braun.
It's Braun.
Braun.
I think he actually fits them well too.
And I've seen Bond fall this far in some of the mock drafts.
He fits in terms of the versatility that the
Fall into the
Ravens love.
second round.
In terms of the
He
versatility,
got caught with steroids. He is not. I repeat, he is not going to. He's not getting into the first round.
so that's
Pulling out.
that's another option just in terms of what they like in terms of attacking.
He'll be an early
great
second
tackling
round
type
draft pick.
linebackers. So that's the other option if they don't want Queen. It just I think in terms of Queen, they just need the guy who can guard tight ends. That's the one weakness the Ravens had. They got torched by a lot of good tight ends.
Who was the linebacker? And the only reason why I can't remember his name is because his name is that long, hyphenated, and such.
Oh, the
From
Appalachian State guy. Yeah, I'll look it up. For
He's
you.
another.
I like
nice
him
player.
too. Yeah,
Akeem Gareth.
I like him too. I like Bond more, but if Bond goes to Cincinnati and maybe Queen goes to the Ravens, that could be a good pick. Yeah, Akeem Davis Gaither.
There you go.
I like him too. And again, Appalachian State, besides last year, they weren't really seen much, but they were ranked a lot of the times last year. And a lot of the reason was because of that defense. And somebody like Akeem Davis Gaither, who is good in coverage, versatile type guy. Maybe improved a little bit with tackling, but again, he's definitely somebody that's a nice prospect too. And again, if the Ravens do want to surprise us, that could be somewhere that could go too. Because the Ravens at times have drafted unconventionally too, and they've drafted very well unconventionally. So it's definitely something that they could go in that direction too.
As we all know out there, I'm a very big gambling man. What are the odds right now?
$2.
What are the odds? What are the odds right now of Errol doing another one of these draft shows next year?
All right. Well, Errol's betting $2. I think it's a good likelihood, but I'm not going to say extremely good. I'll go 2/3.
For me hosting the show,
2/3.
not a day in hell.
2/3.
There's a better chance.
Not a day in hell am I going to do another draft show next year. We'll have somebody else do it. I'm not doing it. I took over for somebody that was supposed to show up here and do the show who begged me to do it.
Didn't you say that he was supposed to like Skype in or Zoom call in or something?
Yeah, good luck on that. Thank you, Tyler. I'm going to mention his name. Thank you, Tyler, for joining us tonight. The show that you were supposed to host. Thank you.
All right, Anthony.
Tyler
so now we
Harrison.
have after this one's
The great
over, we have
Tyler
about 20
Harrison.
minutes of this one. We have a whole year to recruit.
Listen, I'll tell you one thing. We had really good guests.
Great
Really
guests.
good guests.
Great
Really
guests.
good guests.
And we have, I would say, a below average producer tonight.
Oh, God.
So, there you go.
Sorry,
Helping
Speedy.
you out.
Sorry.
Below average.
Oh, my God. Well, the pick is in.
It's been in for a while.
Is it Calais Campbell?
Is it Calais Campbell?
he's sitting right
get
there.
young Calais
No,
Campbell.
he was
Get
actually
a time machine.
the man of the year.
Yes, he
Well,
was. He was the man of the year.
They
Was
just
that when
showed-
he was at Arizona? I think that was when he was with Arizona back in 2015.
They actually showed Patrick Queen sitting there waiting.
He could have been picked for I think maybe
He could have been told 6 minutes ago that he got
18.
picked.
From 18 to this pick, he could have been picked at any time.
Sunday.
All right, finally the
You
ugly sweater
just got
commissioner is announced.
pwned. You just got pwned. Fight. KO. Ready.
Who do we got?
It is Patrick
Queen.
Queen. It is Patrick Queen. Very nice pick, Ravens. Very nice pick. They solved the biggest thing they needed. Excellent pick by the Ravens, and it's perfect for that defensive blood that has always been in that Ravens history. The one guy that I think is the best guy to cover tight ends, and he's always with a lot of great defensive guys too. That's one of the best value picks in the first round too. When you look at it in terms of the late first round, in terms of the middle first round, an excellent value pick for the Ravens, and he'll fit in beautifully in that defense.
And now you have
He'll
Tennessee.
fit in beautifully with that.
You have
defense.
Tennessee.
Who's that sound like?
Say that again?
He will fit beautifully with the Ravens.
That doesn't even sound like Speedy.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
I actually was
doesn't.
waiting for him to say something weirder than that.
I thought
You
that's
really
what
want me
it
to
was.
say something weird?
No, I don't. I was
'Cause I could.
I was expecting some.
You're asking us like that's going
I
to
was
stop you?
expecting-
It won't stop me.
Exactly.
I was
still
expecting
getting
some
to it.
reaction, like some weird movie character or something like that. He was going to say.
Well, you are a weird. You really are a weird movie character. That's for sure.
Just to break up the unbelievably tense vibe in here.
I don't think it's
not
tense.
once has something been mentioned.
What was that?
I mean, you must really be upset right now if you do not want to promote such a thing on this show.
What is that?
How many hours have we been here?
5 hours.
Our stream is almost 5 hours. We're at 4:51.
It's been 5 hours.
5 hours and not once. Okay, not once. With all the sound effects and all that stuff, and all the ball busting you did.
Still
to
more
Speedy.
sound effects to come.
And that might have fit. No, not that one. I'm just saying, there's nothing in regards to Speedy that you, I don't know, just slipped your mind?
You really had to do
Had
this?
to, because it's almost over.
Oh, yes.
Has
By
it really
the way,
been this long?
By the way, ladies and gentlemen,
You're slipping,
as
man.
you guys know, Speedy's new product will be out in stores after the COVID-19. We will have the stores where he'll be signing his autographs. The vibrating sensation himself, Speedy Petey, will be in Walmarts near you, and maybe in some Lowe's. We'll
Come on,
figure it out.
Come on, Anthony. I thought you were on my side.
He'll be signing autographs, and by the way, if you want his autograph, he will only be signing the head of the vibrator.
Come
Just so
on,
you guys know.
Anthony.
Listen,
I
he's
didn't
talking,
expect that out of you.
Listen, it gives him such pleasure
Yes,
and
it
joy.
does. It does.
You know what I mean?
Very much so.
At least you know something. It's that's like his.
It
nice
makes me
little-
feel good. Yes.
It makes him feel a little bit
It
better.
does. It makes me
You
feel
know,
good.
he's not bitching and moaning about a lot of things.
Well, I'm bitching and moaning because this guy has been my producer for 3 years, and he makes some of the most ridiculous mistakes on a live radio show.
But he can make you.
That's why I pick on him.
But you can make him so much money with the products.
Yes, you could.
I mean, honestly.
Yes, you could.
It's just endorsements.
I mean, the endorsements, the product. I mean, it's very well placed and very well made. I mean, seriously, for somebody like you, you should be excited to have a product named after you, the Speedy Sensation.
He's putting, no matter how
Pumped
much.
up and
I'd rather have that be a drink, not a freaking vibrator.
No, listen.
It works for all men and women.
Listen.
So do drinks.
Listen, something has to build
Not
up
for
the
me.
drink.
Yeah,
it.
not for you.
What-
You're an exception.
So you're talking about alcohol. He didn't say that it can be a gift box or a gift package. I mean, something's got to bring up the atmosphere a little bit.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it could come
I mean,
with a
that's
little
fair.
bottle of a couple of Martutis there, and then you're in.
Sounds like
That's
a good
it.
time.
That's
There you
fair.
go.
Fine. I mean, you could
Sounds
do
like
it
a
as
good
you could
time.
do it as that.
I mean,
but-
honestly, he could even do it as a fruit basket.
No.
Sure.
There you go.
Anything's better than that freaking
Little bow,
thing,
you know, the little
that thing he
cellophane.
keeps promoting.
Well, to me, the box, everything about that product is number one.
Did you ever see those gift boxes where you usually see either that
Yeah, the
craft,
candy bags.
you
Candy-
see the
candy boxes.
or you see the craft beer with
Yes.
that nice little pint
Well,
glass.
he's the king of
This
beers.
could be just something different where you have that double-sided,
Well, it's double-sided in all different ways, let me tell you.
There you go.
And the color is just exciting just to look at. I mean, Speedy he's a king.
Oh, Anthony,
He's
can
a
you
king.
can you please tell him nylon green is not a color?
That is a color.
It is neon green.
No, it's nylon. Nylon green.
Nylon green,
Yes.
as in NYLON.
Yes.
Nylon.
He thinks that's a color.
Nylon.
That's a
green.
fabric.
No. There is a color called nylon green.
Well, I know it's green, but where the hell did this color come from?
Well, it was a
Crayola
crayon.
box?
Errol,
It was a
Errol
crayon.
probably invented it.
Somebody
He probably invented it.
Somebody
filing
didn't want
for,
to come to work that
he probably,
day, and then grab
No, he
this-
No,
probably
it's a real color.
he probably filed it after the first time I accused him of it being wrong. He probably filed this with Crayola Company.
Is-
And
is
we'll
nylon
see
green
where it ends
similar-
up happening.
If you had to describe nylon green, what is it? What does it look like?
I don't know. It's a green.
What kind of green?
It's a lighter green.
A lighter green, almost like, I don't know, what, a neon green?
No, not neon.
Yes, neon
No.
green. That's a color.
Neon green is a light
No,
green.
it was.
Oh, look, a real color.
It's a real color. It's called nylon green. Go check it out. You think I'm lying?
Wait a minute. I thought it was purple. Wait, let's stop changing the subject.
Monster
I
truck.
thought your product was supposed to be purple.
I don't really care anymore. He's
Now it's
taken.
nylon green.
It was a small joke, a small thing that he's taken too far. That's all I mean. I don't care what it is anymore at this point.
That's the Speedy call. I love it.
Yes, that. For those of you listening, that is my internal reaction every time Errol brings up the word vibrator.
This is my house.
I hate to break it to you.
And that's Errol's internal reaction every time he brings up the vibrator. He takes so much pride in it. There's nothing else in life that gets him more excited than making fun of me with that word.
Oh, my God, help me.
We got 3 more picks.
4 more picks.
3. Minnesota's picking last.
Oh, my God.
No, the Chiefs are.
Well, we actually have a pick coming in right now, which was a lot faster than I thought it was going to be.
Well, it was about 3 times the pace of the Ravens pick.
It's about time.
Isaiah Wilson. So they go offensive line. Not bad. Not a bad pick. Maybe.
Is he crying?
Of course he is.
Yeah, he probably wasn't another guy that probably wasn't expecting to go
Another
in the
guy
first
that
round.
definitely wasn't supposed
but
to be
again,
going.
he did rise later on. He had a nice combine. He did rise later on. And again, the Titans don't need him to start right away. Even though they lost Conklin, they still got Dennis Kelly there, and they still got Lawan, who's one of the best left tackles in football. So he'll need some time. But again, he's definitely somebody that could get it going with this team. And Tennessee historically, even going back to when they were the Houston Oilers, have always drafted offensive linemen well. So they know something.
No.
Big guy.
No.
Big
No.
guy, they were just showing 6'6", 350. A guy that just needs to work on his technique in terms of
No.
pass blocking. A
No.
really good run blocker, though.
No.
Somebody that'll help out Derrick Henry a lot, who does
No.
do a lot of outside
No.
running for a power back.
No.
And they get a
No.
big guy to go with that,
No.
too.
No.
I would like some variety in the sound effects if you're going to do it. Actually, that was good. I'll give you credit for that one.
OMG.
Oh, God. Really brought up that weird one.
Now Miami's on the clock.
So what's your reaction to the Tennessee's pick for we didn't get that because of
I mean, it's nothing. It's nothing that's going to be. The Giants got the best tackle on that team.
But
they got the other guy.
There's no way the Thomas is going to fall there anyway, though. You should have done that for the Browns.
Even I've gotten to the point where now you just got to laugh at it.
See,
it's just.
If
you want to know something? That's what it feels like right now. Did the sun come up already?
Well, the squeaky toy, though, Anthony. Think about that. How good of a pick it would have been for the Browns, the dog pound, to use that sound effect right there. And now we have a chainsaw for the Miami Dolphins where there's no forestry. Very interesting. The correlation with the sound effects is very interesting. All right, Miami with their third pick. We've said that for a while. Who are they going to end up taking?
I hope everybody's enjoying this.
And everybody besides Queen, who we thought would be with their third pick, is still available. I'm still going Espinoza here. Could Bond be a pick for them there with versatility? Another thing the Patriots do stress, and Brian Flores will bring to that Miami Dolphins team with their DBs, guys like Van Noy, even somebody like Emmanuel Ogbah is definitely who they brought in as a free agent, another guy that's very versatile. So could it be a versatile guy like Bond, or is it Espinoza, or is it another offensive lineman? We've seen a lot of offensive linemen go later in this first round. Is it Espinoza? Is it someone else? Anthony, what do you think?
Honestly, I think right now you may actually see Pittman come off the board.
Ooh. I mean, that's interesting. I mean, he could definitely go there in this spot. That's a type of receiver they could definitely use. Because they don't have that quickness, reliable option really with them right now. They had that for a while with Kenny Stills. They tried it out with Amendola. They overpaid for Amendola very badly and tried it out. It didn't work.
Easy.
So that could definitely be an option for them there. Especially with Rager off the board. Now here's another option another receiver that hasn't really been talked about much tonight, but has been talked about a lot throughout the pre-draft process is Denzel Mims, the Baylor wide receiver, who would definitely be a very interesting pick for them too. Another guy that's very similar to Pittman, and he could be a slot guy, an outside guy too. Now, personally, I've always said just because of reuniting with Rule, I think he could definitely be a pick with the Panthers in the second round. Whether I would make the pick, I don't think so, but definitely someone I could think going to Carolina. But Mims could definitely be an option here for the Dolphins.
I'm sorry.
And could definitely be an option at the end of this.
Speedy, I'm sorry. Let me ask you something. Do you actually have all these buttons, labeled?
Yes,
they're all labeled.
You have that many friggin' buttons over there? That you
it's an exceptional app, and it's funny.
Wow!
WTF?
The teenage girl ones are definitely my least favorite.
That's for you, Speedy.
Okay, that one actually wasn't as bad as your first one, but okay.
Yeah, no.
Guys, we got 3 more picks.
3 more
Miami
picks.
is up.
Well, 3 picks definitely won't happen in 7 minutes. So are we stopping at 12 or are we going the whole way? And we'll never know.
Oh, God, help me, Jesus. Wow. I really don't know.
You enjoying yourself over there?
I'm
You're lost.
I'm lost. Lost.
I figured.
Yeah. Lost.
Just who are you?
That's the best one. I'm sorry. Can you do that one again? Oh, God.
Oh, man.
So pick is in for Miami.
You're out! Yummy. Yummy, yum, yum, yummy.
Somebody's hungry.
Yummy.
Yeah. Really?
As they advertise a Burger King commercial. Nice job, NFL.
Yo, mama.
Exactly how many different ones do you have over there?
About 150.
Well, I'm glad to see you didn't,
He's used that one a lot.
God help me, Jesus. Should I even say the final pick for Miami this round?
Who knows at this rate? The Dolphins may trade back into the first round. Maybe they'll set the record of 4 first-round picks. I don't think there's ever been 4 first-round picks. I know the Vikings did 3 back in 2013. The Giants did last year.
Didn't the Jets have 4 first-round picks?
Years and years and years ago.
Okay, so it did happen before.
Parcells had that, didn't it? That was what? John Abraham,
Chad Pennington, and Sean Ellis. It was 3. But and then, no, they also got Beck.
Oh, and Beck? Okay. There you go.
And all of them sucked, except one. Chad Pennington was a good quarterback.
Chad Pennington wasn't bad.
He was good. If he stayed healthy, he could have been their franchise.
Well, if anybody, I mean, a lot of them. That comes.
No, Chad Pennington was as far as accuracy, was one of the most accurate quarterbacks in NFL history.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No, I thought he was good.
Just didn't have the arm because he hurt his arm. He hurt his shoulder twice.
Right.
Had to have shoulder surgery.
And it's not like he had a big arm coming into the draft either. That wasn't really supposed to be his biggest thing, and then it just got worse with the injuries from there. But definitely accuracy was one of the biggest things. He was probably, I would say, a more sophisticated version of what Alex Smith is.
That pretty much describes tonight, doesn't it?
That describes the Bay Area tonight. Actually, no, the Niners' second pick wasn't bad. That describes the Raiders. The Raiders tonight.
Or in the Beavs' mind.
In the Beavs' mind, when the Cowboys might have made the best pick of the first round. In the Beavs' mind, no, it wasn't good enough. Meanwhile, Xavier McKinney hasn't been taken yet, and they can still get him in the second round.
They're not getting him in the second round.
Probably not.
But for some strange reason, with Miami's last pick, they decided to show all of the running backs right now.
And it won't be a running back.
If McKinney is still on the board, he will be picked in the top 6 or 7 of the next round.
So let's see. Cincinnati is first. I think they have to go linebacker or offensive line. You got number 2 with the Redskins. They have to go offense. They need us so much on offense.
I think the Jets are drafting a little early in the second round. I think you're drafting 6th or 7th in the second round.
And then you got Detroit. I mean,
If I'm not mistaken.
Detroit could take McKinney. That could definitely be an option for them.
But I think the Jets are going wide receiver anyways. So.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Some guys could fall. I don't think Mims will fall, but maybe Chenault will fall. It's definitely an option because I think Mims is going to reunite with his coach. I don't think it'll be a good pick for the Panthers, but I think he'll reunite with his coach. And
Chenault, the guy from Colorado?
No.
Yeah. Who's
No,
that guy?
Denzel Mims. I'm talking about the wide
Who's
receiver.
the guy from Colorado? The wide receiver.
Laviska Shenault. That would be a great pick for the Jets if they took him in the second round. I mean, again, injury risk, but I think it's a good gamble because they need that kind of well-rounded wide receiver. And he's fast for his size, too. He just didn't look good at the combine because he was just coming off surgery. So he wasn't expected to do as well. And this was kind of expected for him to fall. But him as a talent is really nice. And that could definitely be an option. See,
that's just wrong. That's just
hell
wrong.
is that? All right, we got 2 minutes. Is the Dolphins pick our last pick, or we're gonna go to the end?
I guess we'll finish at the end.
We'll go to the end. Every pick in the first round.
Finally.
Mr. Ugly Sweater. Nice. That was good. Really, I compliment you? Oh, what they do go corner. That's interesting. Noah Igbigone.
Last time I checked, didn't they spend some money on some cornerbacks today?
Yeah. I mean, he could play safety as well, so he's a versatile guy. So he might end up playing more of a slot corner safety type role on that team. It's still a very interesting pick, though, considering, again, with all the second-round picks they have, he probably would have been available. Unless they were afraid somebody like the Chiefs were going to steal him. I don't know if they were thinking of that, but it seems like a very bizarre pick with more talent on the board. With all those second-round picks that they have, especially now trading back as well with Green Bay, you got all those extra picks to be able to make it work. I think he's a good system fit. I think it's a reach, though, for the Dolphins. Not a bad pick, but again, could have been better. Is that a bomb or a firework?
Oh, my God. Minnesota's on the clock again.
All right, with the same dilemma. Fulton, Espinosa, or Delpit. anything is in question for them, or offensive line. We're seeing a lot of offensive line later in this first round. Oh, their pick's already in. They're probably surprised these guys all lasted there. The Vikings made their pick really fast.
If it's offensive line, don't be surprised to see Prince go.
I could see that, yeah. I like him, too. Again, he might be a little raw. He might need to take some time back.
What the hell, bro?
He might need to take some time back with the injury, but he's a nice player, though, if they do end up taking him. And I think he's definitely better in terms of right now than what their current right tackle situation is. So that is an option. The question is, with the extra picks they got trading back, could they consider going back into the second round with maybe a couple thirds and going for Winogo later, and then maybe taking somebody like Fulton or Espinosa in terms of the best prospects there available? So the Vikings have the same dilemma they had at pick 22. So maybe they ended up making good value with what they could have gotten with those picks, because really this last half of the first round has been very weird. There's not a lot.
You mean in here or over here?
Both. Outside of Queen, who was really a conventional. Oh, Ayuk, who was really a conventional pick when you look at the back half of this first round. What is that one? That one's awful.
I'm enjoying myself. I don't have to say anything.
It's screechy.
I watched the NFL draft.
All right. Looks like the Vikings pick is in. What are our final predictions? I am going to go Fulton.
Why is Cincinnati getting another pick?
They don't. That's the first pick of the second round.
What the hell is up there?
Because the graphic is still in effect.
That's another virtual problem.
Classic ESPN and NFL Network, whatever they're showing. They're flipping off between the two.
Get off my lawn. You know something? At this rate, okay, and I know he's brought up his name. All right, I may kill Tyler. I may kill Tyler for this. We're getting punished because he's pissed off at Tyler. That's what this is.
Come on. Without this, I mean, how?
I wonder how Tyler feels about his Saints getting another offensive lineman.
Here's what I feel about Tyler. Hold on. I'm gonna find it. Hold on.
That one?
Oh no. Hold on.
Yeah, I was
hold
gonna
on.
say.
Game over. Game over.
That's for you, Tyler.
Oh, they do go corner, but it's not Fulton. It's Jeff Gladney. Another
That's
nice
probably
pick,
somebody you know.
It's a nice pick, though. Another guy that was a late first-round pick. Good corner, well-rounded, kind of a man-to-man guy. A little smaller to be a press guy, but again, he's a good man-to-man guy, good ball skills for the most part. Nice pick for the Vikings. He can definitely emerge, I don't know if into a higher-end number one corner, but definitely a lower-end number one corner. If Mike Hughes can emerge into that other number one corner. And I'm guessing based on that reaction, Errol hates the pick or my analysis.
I hate
both.
the pick.
In all kidding aside, though, Errol, as a Jet fan, aren't you a little psyched considering all the talent that's dropping now into the second round? Aren't you? Well, let's put it this way: aren't you a little surprised that some of the talent's actually, in all seriousness, now, some of the talent that was supposed to go in the first round is ridiculously dropped off that much?
There is a lot of opportunity. If the Jets want a wide receiver in the early second round, they can take their pick.
They might even be able to get Espinosa if they want a pass rusher too.
That's
a nice option. They could take a corner. There's a lot of good options. With all the guys that fell out from those two spots, it's definitely interesting. They don't have
What time does the draft start tomorrow?
I think it's 7 tomorrow.
Again? 7 o'clock.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
But they do two ends.
But here's the thing you have to look forward to.
Round.
It's only 5-minute picks now.
And
which teams will take all 5 minutes?
And you can add another 20 minutes to that one.
It's only 5.
So, no. Here's the thing: they have 5 minutes to make the pick, the teams, and then the networks will switch off with between showing the players and showing the ESPN guys and all that stuff. That'll take another 15 minutes in itself. So it's still not going to be everything they need it to be in terms of getting it to be 5 minutes.
And you want to know something? Out of all the teams, this is the one team that should have no reason to be taking any time off the clock. They knew they were going to be last. They see what the hell is.
They're going to get a good player.
They are.
No kidding. That's why this shouldn't be that difficult of a situation. Before they were dealing with, what are we probably going to have and all that.
Right.
Now
they're dealing with certain positional needs. Are we going to take interior defensive line? Are we going to take a corner? Are we going to take a running back? Like, they had those options. Now they could actually take a quality value pick.
Do they really
too.
need a running back, though?
The Chiefs?
I
They
mean,
could use
considering-
one. A young one? They could use a young one.
But the running backs that they have now compared to the running backs that are in talent-wise.
Now, I don't think they have to draft one now, but I'm saying they could definitely draft one. Damian Williams is 28, 29 years old, and he's not an every down back. They have who? Darwin Thompson and a lot of other, again, low-level running backs. They could definitely go there. I'm not saying it's where they should go. I think they definitely could go corner. They could go interior defensive line because their run defense, even though they showed up big in that AFC Championship game, their run defense throughout the season was still a big problem for them. So somebody like Ross Blackstock, the TCU defensive tackle, could be an option here for them. I don't know much beyond that because it's not a very strong interior defensive line draft. I don't know who else they would take here. But again, the Chiefs are another team that do draft unconventional at times. So who knows at this rate? And this is a very weird end of the first round in terms of the way it's gone.
Get to work.
Well, we hope the Chiefs will get to work. That is very true. What are you scared of over there? You're where the Chiefs are going to steal your guy for the Jets?
You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Cincinnati could be worried that the Chiefs could steal Bond, too, because linebacker's another thing they could use.
Yo, mama.
Vaughn on this team would be
Yo,
insane.
mama.
They need the run defense and
Yo,
the really
mama.
surefire tackler, and he'd be perfect for them. They lost Ragland, who I think is a
Make
different
me a
type
sandwich.
of a different type than what Bond is, but he's still kind of similar in terms of he was their best tackling and run stopping linebacker.
Hey, listen, as a Giant fan, I just got to be happy that Bond's still out there.
I think Cincinnati's going to take him though if the Chiefs don't here, because they need linebacking help even worse than the Giants do. So. Again, he'd be a nice pick for the Giants. I don't think it would be the only pick the Giants could do.
The Giants would
Honestly,
draft him even if he was there. The Giants wouldn't draft him.
Honestly,
Why, just because that little problem?
honestly, even
That little test?
Gettleman's not going to draft him.
at this point either, with look who's fallen too, I might prefer Espinosa at this point for the Giants.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. I mean, just I think as a long-term player.
Speedy's
I
in his
think
own
Bond.
little dream world because everything's going to go to the Giants. He's a Giant fan.
No, I'm hopeful. I don't. I tell you this all the time. I don't trust Dave Gettleman to do the right thing. Yes, that one's accurate. That one's definitely accurate. I don't trust Dave Gettleman to do the right thing. Let's see who. I'm trying to figure out who he would take to annoy me in this spot.
That's Dave Gettleman's cry.
Yeah, Dave Gettleman's cry when he doesn't have a job next year.
This is one up. Got an extra life over there.
No, Errol only plays older. Well, Errol only plays the Sega Genesis. Him and Erik Coleman are going to have a tournament this weekend.
This is the longest goddamn pick I've ever seen in my entire life.
Really? Over the Ravens pick? Did you not see the Ravens pick, or did you fall asleep during
No,
that?
I'm like one freaking sound effect away from driving my head through this damn table right now. Mind you, it is.
Well, at least the
plastic,
pick
I'm
is
just
in.
saying.
We know they're not trading, so that's a good thing. But at this rate, who knows? Maybe that could be a graphic malfunction, too. Is that a horse?
This is the longest night of my entire life.
Is that a monkey? What is that?
It's alive!
That was good. Andy Reid's got the tropical shirt. Not surprising. All right.
Just like anything else, the pick is
Now,
in, but what the hell?
now the real question: What was Andy Reid's meal of choice tonight? Was it his cheeseburger specialty, or was it something different here? Oh God, do we need to get him? No, we're not getting him started on monkeys again. Errol likes to insult monkeys, too.
What do we got here? What is he playing with a shirt?
All right, last pick of the first round from the ugly sweater. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It is the first running back off the board.
Wow.
It is a great pick for them, too. Very underrated guy, and he fits perfectly what they need.
Right now, you're going to be
Shifty
seeing the cameras go to these other 3 poor bastards that are going to be pretty damn
But again,
pissed
I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire kind of got disrespected
There's
in the
a
draft
lot,
process.
There are a lot of good players that are going
Yeah.
to be available in the second round.
But this is
You're going to get yourself first-round talent in the early second
You
round.
absolutely are. A lot of these running backs are, and this guy one of them too. Very shifty guy, very good secondary moves. That juke move, that spin move, very good. Even better than some of the guys that haven't been drafted yet that were projected to go before him. I think his secondary moves are there. He's just smaller, so he might not be an every down back, a powerful guy, but he's going to be a good option for what the Chiefs need him to be. And again, they still got Damian Williams to be that downhill runner type guy too. And he's going to be a nice pass catching option too for Mahomes as well. I love the pick for the Chiefs.
So, Errol, the first round is complete. Exactly.
Well, that's it for our show. After 5 hours of craziness. Oh, man. What a show, man. Well, I'd like to thank all the special guests that we've had on the show. Brandon Jacobs, great interview by Brandon. It was a little muffled in the beginning of the show. He came back. He gave all of us some good insight of the New York Giants in 2007 when they won the Super Bowl. Gave us some good insight about the Jets and how bad they are as an organization. So thank you, Brandon, for helping us out there and letting me know how bad my team has been for almost 50 years. Thank you for Erik Coleman for joining us, a good friend and a guy that gave us some quality information, not only with the New York Jets, but throughout the league and really his career. Guy's doing so many great things, and definitely check out his GoFundMe page for him and his wife. They're doing great work right now for all the people from COVID-19 that need help. So a shout out to Erik Coleman. Shout out to Brennan Jacobs for joining us. Also, Mike Inglis. I'm sorry. Inglis. I'm sorry. And I'll just tell you guys something. This show has been planned for almost
2 months, you think?
2 months. Yeah. And I was not supposed to host this show. I was supposed to be a guest on the show to help out in any kind of way during the show. I'd like to thank all the fans that stuck by the show, even though it really was just, put together at the last minute. Thank you for all the fans that support us every single. And that's why I did the whole draft, not because I'm tired. I was only going to do the first 21 picks, but I wanted to give the fans something to watch. I want to give a shout out to Jillian and Ricky, our social media people, who are absolutely incredible. They deserve all the credit for all the artwork and the graphics that we post up every single day. They're amazing at what they do. So shout out to Jillian and shout out to Ricky for putting the time and effort into the work that they do. I really appreciate them, and everybody should appreciate what they do on and off the air. So great work. Shout out to our writers, George, Brad, Brian, all of them, Anthony. You're all great. You've all put a lot of time into the stories, and Dante, all the guys that put in the time, and girls put in the time with our network. I really appreciate all you guys. As far as the Cowboy fans are concerned, CeeDee Lamb was a steal.
A steal. The biggest steal of the first round.
And the fact that Cowboy fans are disgusted with CeeDee Lamb only shows you how dumb the fans are when it comes to Cowboys.
I am mad as a Giants fan how CeeDee Lamb fell to the Cowboys. Thank you, Oakland.
Well, here's the best
Niners.
thing. Here's the best thing. The Giants get to see him every single year twice.
Yeah. DeAndre Baker will get roasted by that guy. Oh, my God.
Well, I like DeAndre Baker.
No, he's fine. But
I think
CeeDee
Baker,
Lamb was a better prospect than DeAndre Baker.
I think DeAndre Baker just needs to work on some things. I think he's going to be a shutdown corner. I really like DeAndre Baker when they drafted him and moved up in the draft to get him. I thought he was the best corner in last year's draft. And I still believe
We'll see.
I still think he's the best corner in last year's draft.
He could be.
This year's class is much better.
Agreed.
But I've said that, and I think there'll be a lot of available players that are going to be available for the Giants and Jets in the second round. So I think you definitely have to tune in tomorrow's rounds because the Jets got 2 third-round draft picks and a second, so they got 3 picks next tomorrow, and the Giants only have 1. So
hopefully it's Espinosa.
Good thinking, good dream world, but that's not going to happen.
No, knowing
That's all
Dave
we can do
Gettleman,
is
probably
dream.
not.
That's all we can do is dream.
It is a dream, but
All we can do is dream. We've endured enough bad draft picks recently.
They did land a good tackle. I can tell you that. So I think they now could solidify their offensive line. The question is, where are they going to stick Thomas? Are they sticking on a left tackle position, or are they sticking him in the beginning of the year at the right tackle position? I would be pushing more to the right tackle position as a rookie for him to get his feet wet. That's what I think the Jets are going to do. I think they're going to move Font to the left tackle position in the beginning of the season so the kid can figure things out, and I think eventually they'll shift him to the left tackle position, and Font will be their right tackle. And they're both fairly young. Font is 27 years old. This kid's 19, 20 years old. So they have a fairly young offensive line if you look at the New York Jets now.
Tons of young players. I think Lewis is the oldest one, and he's like 28.
Yeah, McGovern is 26, 25 years old. This is a good offensive line that they can really build around Sam Darnold for the future. So as a Jet fan, and any Jet fans that are not happy with Joe Douglas and this pick today, well, you obviously don't realize that they know who their franchise is, and they want to protect that franchise.
And how many years have Jet fans been clamoring for them to get offensive line? Since, obviously, Ferguson and Mangold, who were both phenomenal, they retired.
And they're not done. And they're not done with the offensive line.
I don't think so either. There's
not
enough
by a long shot.
There's enough interior guys I think they can get good value picks in that second, third round if they want to go there. I don't think they'll do it in the second, but third round you could definitely
They're
get.
going wide receiver in the second round.
They could go receiver. They could also go Espinosa too if he ends up falling too to help out as a pass rusher.
No, I see wide receiver. I do believe it. The 2 most important positions in this year's draft for the New York Jets is the tackle position and the wide receiver.
They may get it too because outside of Jacksonville, there's not really a team that needs a wide receiver as their biggest thing either when looking at the second round.
Oh,
either.
I'd love to see what the Colorado
Chenault, yeah,
that
would be awesome
because I know Jeff does not want to see that.
That would be awesome for the Jets.
Because Jeff's been talking.
Because
the Jets have been. I mean, Jeff has been talking very highly of this kid, and he said he is by far the best wide receiver in this year's draft. That's what he said.
It's interesting because here's the other thing with Darnold. Who was Darnold's best receiver when he was at USC was Juju, who was a similar type, a bigger-bodied receiver with good speed at times. Now, Juju obviously bulked up more into the NFL. He wasn't as big as what Chenault is now, but it's a similar type receiver, and that's when Darnold had his best year with USC, but that best stretch.
I will say this. If Pittman is still there at wherever the Jets are drafting early in the second round, I could see the Jets drafting him. Yeah. And the reason why I think they could draft him, one reason why is he has a rapport with Sam, and him and Sam are very good friends. And they want to give Sam all the weapons that he knows and he trusts that'll go up and get that ball. So, and Pittman worked with Sam in his freshman year, loves Sam, and I think Sam, if Pittman is still there, I wouldn't be so surprised if they draft Pittman because they want to give Sam all the weapons, and they want to give him all the control,
the help. Yeah, they need
control.
other targets to just stretch the field. Yeah.
If the Colorado kid is there at wherever the Jets are drafting in the second round, I think 42nd or 43rd.
Right.
I would draft him. I would draft him if he's sitting there. I think it would be a stupid move. Get the best player available, even if it's not the guy that Sam wants. You get the best weapon available. And if Pittman's there in the third round, which quite possibly could happen, they can get him, in the third round.
They could even, if they even think he's going to fall out or not fall out of the second round, they could even trade up with one of the third round picks, just give a 3 and a 5 or something to seal him if they wanted to. And even double down on the receiver because that can't hurt either.
You expect the Jets to go after a pass rusher. I do see them to draft or make a trade for a pass rusher or tomorrow. I think if you see something, you will see a pass rusher. Either one of the third round draft picks that they're drafting, or they're going to make a trade and they're going to get a pass rusher. I think that's what's going to happen. They're in desperate need for an edge rusher. They have been a desperate team for an edge rusher since John Abraham, and that's 15 years.
Right. They always seem to take power rushers. They never take speed rushers. It's interesting.
That's a guy that I want to get on the show, John Abraham. We should reach out to him. I think John would give us good insight. You know what I'm going to ask? I'm going to ask Eric to get me John Abraham.
Are you going to ask him to insult Giant fans too?
No, but I think John will. I think John Abraham will insult Giant fans. I do. The reason why Eric didn't do it, and I'll tell you this: Eric respects Giants and Giant fans. He doesn't have anything against them, but in his heart of hearts, he knows he can't stand the New York Giants.
One of the best things I've seen, actually, for all these alerts that you get from ESPN and stuff, you have Ryan Clark, who actually said that in regards to the Jordan Love pick, you couldn't have found a more miserable, quote-unquote, miserable mentor than Aaron Rodgers for Jordan Love.
And it's true, but you want to know something?
He's right.
Aaron Rodgers is not going to be there past 2 years. I don't. I think Aaron Rodgers is either going to retire or he'll be going elsewhere, just like Tom has, and seeing if he can win somewhere else.
Right. It's also not just the one quarterback that helps him. It's the coaching staff. It's the organization. There's certain types of quarterbacks, and the Packers have done well with this. They're one of the best quarterback franchises. There's certain types of quarterbacks they like, and they know they can work with in the right system.
And as far as the Giants are concerned, I think the Giants are they still have a number of picks that they're going to have an opportunity to draft with this year. They only have one pick in the second and third round, which they only have one pick tomorrow. So they got to make it good.
Hope Leonard Williams works out.
They got to make it good. They got to make it good because if they miss on this, they're not picking until the fourth round. So, and that's a late fourth round draft pick.
Yeah.
So they got that back.
I thought they picked up the third round in compensation.
No.
They
gave the
I
third.
I think they got a fifth or something.
They got a fifth in compensation. They have a fourth round draft pick. I think it's going to be. I think it's in the middle of the pack in the fourth.
Yeah,
round.
I think it was from the Eli Apple trade. It was
the
from
Eli
the
Apple
Saints.
trade.
So
yeah.
it would be late in the fourth round.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there. So they don't have much to pick from for the next day and a half. So they better hit on their second round draft pick and better hope something because Dave Gettleman really screwed up their draft this year by trading away 2 draft picks for Leonard Williams. It really hurt them.
That was a very weird trade.
But you know what? To one man's riches is the other man's greatness. That's my words, not anybody else. To one man's riches is another man's greatness. And I think Joe Douglas has an opportunity to take a first-round draft pick like Leonard Williams, throw it out to the Giants, and reel in players that could be big pieces to this team and this organization in the future. That's it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, you can call us at 631-965-4990 and follow us on our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Shout out to Anthony Anderosi for joining us. Great insight, great laughing, having a good time. I'm sorry for the feed going back and forth. I know the Beef texted me and he was complaining that it was slowing down. You have to understand there's a lot of graphics, there's a lot of TVs and a lot of stuff going on in this studio.
Beef, you're having a very complaining night, and you shouldn't be.
Well, I don't know why he's upset about CeeDee Lamb.
I can't wait to fight with him on Monday if he calls about CeeDee Lamb.
I think you'll hear from him earlier than that. You got to see his post of what he posted up on social media.
Oh, my God.
He called the Cowboys
idiots. I might actually tweet that to Snug and Jeff and see what they think.
He called the Cowboys idiots.
Oh, my God.
Well,
let's see. Where did I have Lamb on my prospect rankings? I think I had him 6.
Here's the answer to all you Cowboy fans. They never had a number 1 wide receiver. Hence the reason why they drafted CeeDee Lamb. Do you not sink this through your head, Beav? They already knew that Amari Cooper wasn't a 1. The reason why they gave Amari Cooper $100 million because they were unsure that one of these wide receivers were going to be there at number 17. They got lucky because if they knew CeeDee Lamb was going to be there at 17, they wouldn't have given Amari Cooper a 5-year, $100 million contract. Best believe that.
Yeah, they were expecting the Jets maybe to steal him, the Raiders, the Niners. Obviously, Denver took Judy, so they took the receiver they had to. But there was a lot of teams that could have stolen. Even Jacksonville at 9 could have gone in that direction too. And they didn't get there. So any Cowboy fan that thinks CeeDee Lamb is a bad pick, you're out of your mind.
Well,
it looks like the Giants do have a third-round pick.
Do they?
Oh, they
99.
Do? Huh.
Pick 99, and then the fourth round, 110.
Yeah, that's the Saints pick. Okay, so I'm trying to remember where they got that from.
Who cares?
Compensatory pick.
Oh, it is? Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Who cares? It's not going to really do anything for them.
One can hope you're wrong, but you're probably right.
Well, that's it for the show.
The
Here,
facial expression on that was priceless.
I'll give you guys some information. Here's some of the information I'm going to give you.
Meh.
And that's it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. We will talk to you on Monday. Until then, this is Errol Marks, Speedy Petey, and Anthony Androssi saying good night, and we'll talk to you then. Good night, everybody.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.